Yeah, so my co-author and I, we take a look at the New Testament and apply data science to it to try to figure out, what are we looking at here? And our theory is that the New Testament was written in the 2nd century, and data science backs this up. Specifically, stylometric analysis, which seeks to attribute authorship looking at text and the style of writing. So, based on this, we see that 2nd century authorship means that Paul, who was presented in the 1st century as writing, didn't exist, or at least in the way the New Testament talks about. And then as far as Jesus goes, he didn't write anything, so it's not as direct, but it does highlight some of the things that are called anachronisms there in the New Testament, there within the Gospels, things that are out of place in time, things that 2nd century writers would have assumed would have been there in the 30s or in the 20s there for Jesus. So that's how we can determine it. But yeah, I wanted to check. I just did a restart over on YouTube to see if that even. I don't know if that's a thing or not. I have no idea. But welcome in on YouTube if you're coming in. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. You do that? No, no. I stopped it and then restarted it to see if that would help. I have no idea. YouTube doesn't work like that. Well, we're gonna try to find out. Good afternoon, YouTube sludge. We back. Well, we'll find out. We will find out if YouTube works like that or not. All right. If you've got any evidence for Jesus or Paul, come on up. You should ask people if they came from YouTube to see how many. Oh yeah, people will mention it every once in a while. They'll mention it. Thank you very much for the jewels over there on YouTube. Frog, hug, and then Stutz, I guess. A little park the bus. That's kind of cool. Thank you very, very much over there on YouTube, and thank you on TikTok as well for helping with the goals and everything like that. I think that over on TikTok we ended up hitting the goal thing. I think. Let me see. Oh, it's wanting me to do. What is pin? Is that what the other thing is? Where like is that what that is? Oh, you can do a manual pen. Oh, every once in a while it pops up and it's like, oh hey, like let people know, and I click let people know or whatever. But you can actually do a manual pen. This is awesome. I didn't know that at all. Oh my god, I've just been doing it whenever TikTok just tells me to fucking do it. I didn't know you could just do it whenever. That's that's absurd. Okay. All right. Let's see what is going on. If you're on TikTok and you want to come up and give us evidence for Jesus or Paul, request up right about there or down there. Request on up. If you have any evidence for Jesus or Paul, come on up. Michael Ricketts says Romans say Jesus had a brother James. Interesting. You can come up if you like. We can talk about it. We do have a guest who's coming up. This is someone who is part of Gen X. Gen X. So it says, it's me, Gen X.
Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. I don't know how I accidentally got on here.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Whoops.
Well,
I'm enjoying the book. I'm enjoying the discussions. This is awesome. I love it. Just keep going.
well,
And I love the little scarfie that you got.
the scarf? Is that what you said?
Yeah, there's a Jaren scarf. Watch,
Yeah.
I'm gonna send you
So
one.
I don't. Okay. Yeah. It doesn't. Does it do something? Does it like put a scarf on me or something?
Yeah, it looks like you're in yellow and it's like a little heart. It looked like Joel at first, but then I was like, oh no, it's Jaren.
Oh shit! Oh my god.
Anyway,
Joel is he's one of those people on TikTok and on YouTube that we have a friendly beef, sort of, kind of. Every once in a while, it pops up. Every once in a while, the beef happens. No, no, I like Joel, and I think that he likes me. But it's fun to pretend like we have beef.
Yeah, I follow him too, and Mezzo and all these guys. I'm learning so much. TikTok has been a lifesaver, really
Oh yeah.
has.
Oh yeah. I mean, the amount of information that the deconstruction community on YouTube and TikTok really has is phenomenal. I mean, there's a lot of really knowledgeable people who go live and will just absolutely go through all these different texts, not just the Bible, but the Book of Mormon, the Quran. I mean, all kinds of things. So it's
I
really
would
cool
love
to
to
kind of
learn
see it.
about all of them, not just the Bible. I did want to say one thing before you drop me down or I drop down.
Oh yeah.
Um, I wasn't allowed to ask these types of questions, and when I did, I was dismissed. And so I don't know if you have siblings or anything like that. You're pretty much assigned a birth order, and if you don't talk the way they tell you to, you need to shut up, sit down, and be quiet. I'm the scapegoat in the family because I did always ask these questions, and
Right.
a young child, in fact, I look. My children's Bible is straight up propaganda from the very beginning. The first page you open up.
Yeah.
So this has just been so eye opening. And yes, be careful, people that have been thinking this is real stuff, and then you figure out it's not. It's a psychological aspect of having to change all the wiring that you were indoctrinated with. It's really, I don't know. It's my entire family, 500 people in my extended family. They're all into this, and it's just like it's so refreshing, so refreshing.
Yeah. I think the thing that a lot of people who deconstruct kind of miss is a lot of that like camaraderie or that sense of community. And so it's really cool to have a bunch of like-minded people here on TikTok and YouTube that really have that kind of community and have each other's backs and stuff like that. And you can ask those questions freely, and you can even hear other people ask those questions and go through similar situations that you have been through, and even be able to help people out. You know, if you've already been through those and everything. So it's really cool to kind of see that community grow and everything. It's awesome.
Where can I find the Discord channel to
So
get
yeah,
into it?
over on on TikTok, if you have the Discord for Deconstruction Chaos, go ahead and comment really quick. I know Lady Huggy has it, and I know Elizabeth Heretics has it. You can check out the Discord there. It's called Deconstructing Chaos. If they comment, I should be able to see them. I'm not sure if Aaron has it or not. There's a link. There's a link. Aaron just provided it there on TikTok.
Okay, thank you.
But yeah, oh yeah,
Appreciate
and
it.
if you can hop in, yeah, welcome in.
Awesome. Just keep up the good work. I'm so glad I found you.
Oh well, thank you
Perfect.
very much. Thank you. Do I have a sound here? Of course, I've got a sound. Here we go.
Pull the lever, Kronk.
Why do we even have that lever? All right. Let's see. Is that different from deconstructing junction? Yeah, it is. It's kind of. I would say it's like a cousin or a sister of deconstruction junction. Definitely, because it's not as if I have a massive problem with deconstruction junction or something like that. It's just I'm just more active in that particular Discord. That's all that it is. It's really that it is. But I definitely and there's slightly different rules and stuff like that, but nevertheless, it's going to be it is technically separate. Yes, there's a lot of it that has more of a mythicist focus, to be honest. Let's see for Bree better. What? Anyways, if you have any evidence for Jesus or Paul, come on up. I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. Come on up now. You hear? Let's see. I type weird shit. Yeah, I know you do. Maybe we should even restart over there on TikTok. Should we restart TikTok as well? Maybe. If you've got any evidence for Jesus or Paul, click the link that's in the chat there on YouTube, and you can come over to TikTok. TikTok is how I take guests. YouTube doesn't allow for me to take guests directly. But if you have a TikTok, you can come up. If you don't have a TikTok or don't want to come over, just send a super chat, and I will read it out loud here on the live, and I will respond to it if you send a super chat there. Otherwise, you can request up on TikTok, and we can have a conversation. That hurt. Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, I don't know. Sometimes YouTube takes a while there to do it, but we can do a quick restart there on TikTok and see what happens. Alrighty. All right. If you are just now joining there on TikTok, you can request up if you like. The request button is right about here or down there. And we're talking about Jesus and Paul. We'll be up here for another hour or so, and we'll see what kind of questions that we get. Any questions, or especially if you've got actual evidence for Jesus. That's what I really like to hear, is someone who's like, I've got evidence that Jesus actually walked on this earth. Nice. In fact, I like to point out every once in a while that 1 Peter 3:15 says you should always be prepared to give a defense of why you believe what you believe when questioned or demanded of you, and do so respectfully. So, again, if you are a Christian, a Bible-believing Christian, and you don't come up here and tell the guy on TikTok or YouTube with a cowboy hat that Jesus actually did exist back then and give the evidence for why you think he existed back then if you pass away, then Jesus will tell you, "Depart from me, I never knew you, because you didn't take time out of your day to explain my existence," or Paul's, for that matter, to the guy that's on TikTok and YouTube asking for evidence. I am literally asking for evidence, and people are not lining up to give the evidence. That's really weird from a Christian standpoint. It's almost as if the Great Commission means nothing to you. That's really strange. So, yeah, I got an amen there in the chat. All right. Trevor Trev says, apparently we have Jesus's flip-flops. I'm not claiming that, but someone else was in another life. Yeah, the sandals of Jesus, some people say that we have the sandals of Jesus, and that's just not even remotely close to true. Let's see. Ramen. All right. If you haven't Josephused yet today, check the fiber. Josephused. Oh my God. Do they allow you to walk on water? Maybe. Someone needs to try them on and see what happens. Christ, crusty flip-flops. Jesus. Where were those flip-flops? I don't know. I don't know where the I guess Rome probably is who keeps I would say that maybe at Rome or the Vatican or something. I don't know. Do the flops have holes? All right. Just ordered your paperback. Already had PDF. Oh, well, thank you very much. The paperback's a little easier to kind of, take notes in or highlight stuff in, obviously. I think you can highlight things now on like the Kindle app, I think. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely... I prefer to have paperback versions of books, at least. It's like the movie Like Mike, except it's like Jesus. That's funny. Over there on YouTube, if you're coming in and you want to come up, just click the link in the chat and you can request up. And thank you very, very much. There have been a couple other people who have joined the 35 Second Gang over there on YouTube. I definitely want to thank those people as well. I think here before too terribly long, Matthew and I were talking about making a couple videos or something over there on YouTube that are specifically to members only. Not a members only live, but like a members only like videos or something like that, where we actually like show some stuff. So we wanted to like thank you guys there for becoming members there on YouTube there. And we may also put those on TikTok as well for like the members over there. Probably. We probably would. I don't know if I've ever really made a members only video on YouTube or TikTok. I know I've had some lives on TikTok before like that, but I didn't. I like having conversations with people, so I generally like the lives to be like a free for all, more or less. Really quick, a $4.99 love note. Send a super chat there. It says 1 Peter 3:15, defend your Jesus. Yes, that is true. If you're a Bible believing Christian, the Bible tells you that you have to defend your faith and defend why you believe what you believe. Members only jacket. I just stopped the YouTube stream. I came back from lunch and it was gone. Yeah, I wanted to see if it would like restart, kind of like TikTok. Let's see. You reset it, yeah. Or the dog gets it. Yep, the dog gets it. Unfortunately, I feel underappreciated for. Oh no, we'll still be making those like videos there because you're part of the 35-second game there on TikTok. So we'll be putting them over there as well. It didn't. It sucked. I think a lot of it is because YouTube needs that guest whenever you first start up. I'll go back to all that. Nah, well, it's fine. It's all good. I'll be on here for a little bit longer. I don't think there's any. I don't think there's anybody who's willing to come up here and actually defend their faith. I think that's the problem. They're just not coming up here. So if you're on YouTube and you think that there's evidence for Jesus or Paul, click the link in the chat. It goes to TikTok. If you don't want to come up on TikTok, which is how I take guests, then send a super chat. Macaroons, what you got?
Okay, so I have a question for you.
Okay.
If God isn't real,
I'm not talking about
then, well, Jesus and God are the same person.
Where did you hear that?
That's in the Bible.
What part of the Bible?
I don't know the exact.
Would it be the New Testament or the Old Testament?
For scripture, I think that's the Old Testament.
No, the Old Testament does not mention Jesus at all. The New Testament does and says that he's God.
Yeah.
All right.
So
how did you determine that the New Testament was accurate when it, talks about Jesus though?
The Bible and everything in the Bible is the living word of God.
Yeah, it says that in the New Testament, but how did you determine that that was actually the case? Because, I mean, a book can claim a whole bunch of stuff. The Book of Mormon claims to be the truest book on the planet, even truer than the Bible. So, I mean, how do we determine whether or not something is true?
Well, that's through a series of researches in scripture that you do.
Not in scripture. It would be a series of research in like history and try to figure out if when it talks about things going on that it actually happened.
The thing is, Satan has infiltrated a lot of education in terms of history and science.
Where is the evidence of that?
That's not really debated by anybody.
Cool. So where's the evidence of it if it's so obvious?
You could do a Google on that.
Sweet. So you don't know? It's incredibly obvious, but you don't know?
There's the question I wanted to ask you.
Sweet. Well, your question didn't have anything to do with the topic because you think that Jesus is God, but you don't know why the New Testament would make that kind of claim, especially, I mean, you don't know how to back up the New Testament's claims about Jesus in general. So how do we know that it's true when it says that Jesus is God?
If the Bible is the word of God, I don't have to back up the word of God.
And if the Book of Mormon is the truest book ever written, then what you're saying about Jesus is incorrect.
Well, Mormonism is a different kind of...
Correct, but their book says that it is the truest book ever. So do we just not believe books when they say things? I mean,
truest book ever is actually, I mean, you can't define something as the truest book ever.
They did. So obviously, I don't want to believe something just because a book says it. And just because the Book of Mormon says it's the truest book.
You're saying that science books are telling the truth.
I never said that at all, did I? I don't think I said anything that sounded like that. Anyways, so when the Book of Mormon says it's the truest book ever, I don't want to just take its word for it. And I don't think you do either, because there's no evidence behind that. So what is the evidence behind the idea that the Bible is actually the word of God? Like, how did you determine that that was a true statement?
That is a true statement
Mm-hmm.
because I have faith.
Okay, well, I mean, the Mormons
And
have faith that the Book of Mormon is the truest book ever written, so that's not getting us anywhere. Do you have any evidence for it?
I mean, sometimes when I'm really in a bad spot,
Mm-hmm.
I'll shoot out, and I hate to admit this, but I'll shoot out a quick prayer to every God that there
Okay.
is.
I mean, that's
Just to
fine.
cover all bases.
That's fine. I mean, might as well, I guess. But, like, that doesn't help us get to whether or not this book is correct when it's talking about this God. Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah. So how did you determine that the New Testament was correct when talking about Jesus?
When talking about Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
the Bible, there's actually a lot of evidence about the Holy Spirit. Because who actually
We're
wrote
talking
the
about
Bible
Jesus,
is the
though.
Holy Spirit.
Okay. Well, that's what the book says. Do you have any evidence that the Holy Spirit actually did that?
I can feel it. I feel it in church. And I feel it when...
Was the Holy Spirit telling them to write the
One of the
book while you were
scriptures
alive,
is
or was
that-
it writing the Bible 2,000 years ago?
The Bible was written 2,000 years ago.
Yeah,
And the
so
earth,
you feeling the
the
Holy
earth is
Spirit today
roughly
doesn't have anything to
6,000
do.
years old.
That's fine, but I mean, it's not true, but whatever. The point is that you feeling the Holy Spirit today doesn't have anything to do with whether or not the Holy Spirit wrote the Bible 2,000 years ago. How did you determine that part was true?
It's written in the scriptures.
Okay, so again, because the book says it.
Yes.
Okay, well, the Book of Mormon says that it's the truest book ever, so if we're just trusting what books say, then I guess it's the truest book ever?
The Book of Mormon was written in America a couple hundred years ago.
Not according to the Book of Mormon. It's actually written prior to the Bible, actually.
So, your claim is that Jesus never existed, right? All that we're... So you're going against all the scholars and everyone who's written about Jesus.
No, there are plenty of scholars who say that Jesus didn't exist. Not the majority
Okay.
of scholars, but nevertheless, there's plenty of them. I'm not going against all the scholars. Do you have any evidence, or have the scholars written about anything that you've read that provides evidence for Jesus?
If Jesus never existed, how does another Kleenex pop up every time I take a Kleenex? Another one perfectly pops up.
Until they're gone, correct?
Well, no, that's because of miracles.
Makes sense. Anyway,
So miracles happen
that being
every
said,
day.
what I'd like for you to do, I guess. Wait. Are you in a kitchen right now?
Am I in the kitchen? No, I'm at home.
Oh, is there like a window or anything in your room?
Why? Yes, I have a window next to me.
Oh, sweet. Like, what is the furthest that you can see through that window? Does it just go to like the house next door or the place next door? Like, how far can you see? Like, how far could you estimate that you could see out that window?
Assuming that the earth is round, I can see about 30 feet to the next house.
Okay. Not sure how the curvature of the earth is going to stop you from 30 feet, but yeah, so 30 feet over. Okay, that sounds good. So I want you to...
Because of the curvature.
Yeah, that's fine. I want you to take a look out the window and find the furthest possible distance that you could see, and that's where I'd like you to fuck off to. All right.
Babality. Flawless victory.
Does anybody have any evidence for Jesus or Paul? Jesus or Paul, everybody. Jesus or Paul. I need to just go ahead and get like a little. Here, do we have? Yeah. I'm trying to find a. I'll have to find a way to put the verse up there. That's the thing. Maybe I could put it up whenever the that makes sense. Elope Nope, you're not not correct. You're not wrong. $1.99 there from Elope Nope says, when are you going to put up the Bible verse? I got to find a way to actually put it up. In fact, Gray Eyes is the one who sent me this. If anybody has a way to create like, or if you think it would be a good fit or whatever with like a transparent background and stuff like that that says the Bible verse or at least a portion of it, come up with something and send it over to me and I'll use it. But I don't know how exactly I put it up, and I'd probably only like pop it up like every once in a while and bring it back down some. So I'll find a way. I don't know what that was. All right. Let's see here. If you've got any evidence for Jesus or Paul, come on up. Eric in the chat said the Ethiopian Bible is the oldest. Oldest what? Because probably not. Depends on what you mean by that. If you are on YouTube and you think that there is historic evidence for Jesus or Paul, come on up. The link to the chat, or a link in the chat, is going to take you over here to be able to come up. I take guests on TikTok. If you don't have a TikTok or you don't want to come up, send a super chat and I will read it out loud and respond. Otherwise, you're going to have to request up here on TikTok. If you're on TikTok, please, the request button is here or down there. You can request up and we can have a conversation about it. Eric is saying something. I guess Eric is saying something about the Ethiopian Bible written text. Just request up, man, because I don't really know what you're trying to say, and you can come up and you can have a conversation. Just probably the verse in the text, probably the verse in the text there, Gray Eyes. Probably. I need to try to figure out how to do it. Like, what do you think would be the best way? Because if I just put the verse, then I gotta like say what that is. He's on private. Yeah, he is private. I don't know why. All right. Yep, still waiting for somebody to give us evidence for Jesus or Paul. Verse and text, I'm on it. Yeah, thanks, Gray Eyes. I don't know how. I don't know. Elope Nope had, I think, talked about the idea of like using like a ticker, but I don't know if I can. I don't know if I know how to do that. Like that'd be pretty cool. Time to mute or rebuke. I like that. I like that. Did you come up with that? That's pretty funny. All right, here, what I'm going to do, Eric, here's what we're going to do. We're going to mute you for the entire live. But that's not me saying I'm running away from you. I'd like to have a conversation, but you're going to have to request up and have the conversation. You are no longer able to text there in the chat or comment in the chat. That was pretty cool, Elizabeth. Yeah, big props. I'm going to let that play out. Mute or rebuke. That's pretty cool. I like that. Oh, I'll walk you through. Okay, thank you, Grace. Thank you. Thank you. Rebuke to the rebuke. All right. Oh, it's still no Christians wanting to come up and actually give evidence for Jesus or Paul, which is a little strange. I thought Christians would just be champing at the bit to do it. No idea. No idea. The full applause sound effect. Oh, yeah. Say chomping? Chomping. No, it's champing. You're talking about like, no, it's champing at the bit. What are you talking about? What? It's champing. Champing at the bit. Yeah. Chomping at the bit? No. Champing at the bit. Chomp versus champ debate. While champing is the original and historically correct term, chomping has become overwhelmingly popular in American English over the last century. It's champing. That's what a horse does. Yeah. Yep. Bridled horse is anxious to run. It impatiently bites, chews, or grinds the metal bit in its mouth. It's champing. Sorry, guys. Yeah, champing of the bit. So chomping one in the end. I mean, I guess. I've been Americanized. Oh, that's hilarious. Elizabeth says chomping of the bit. She probably also calls it soccer. Anyways. I've always said chomping. Yeah. Yeah. Well, soccer is their word. It is. Soccer did come from the UK. It came from UK and made it over to America, and then we just called it that. And you guys are like, "Oh, hey. It's not soccer." You guys fucking made it up. Football. You're making Cowboys look bad? All right. The Dallas Cowboys can do that all on their own. Soccer? I hardly know her. Jesus Christ. And Minnie's mom says not true about the Cowboys? About the Cowboys? Whoa now. We've got this person here. His name, their name. My name is taken. Oh well, and then they decided to drop back down. So I guess they didn't want to stick around very long.
I like turtles.
Yep, pretty much.
When the fuck did we get ice cream?
All right, heart me, the man in the hat. 5-star. As far as popes go, I'm 2 for 2. Michael Ricketts. What we're gonna do is go ahead and mute you for the live, and you can come up if you like. I'm gonna send you an invite to the live. Come on up now. The heck is even that? Take off the hat, real talk. Here's what we're gonna do. Vibes. Here, I'm gonna send you an invite to come up, and then I'm gonna mute you for the live. You can't comment anymore, but you can request up or accept the invite. Don't be a little bitch. Daddy, chill. It's funny. My show is on. Oh, well, thank you. Well, again, we don't have anybody coming up. It's really weird. It's really weird. You just kind of sit here for a while until people finally come up and give evidence for Jesus or Paul. It's almost like they just can't imagine a world where Jesus actually existed and you have evidence. They might be afraid of the knowledge. I have no idea. The username, how old was Aisha? You can come up here and we can talk about it. Also, 6 because that's a PDF file. Christianity shrinking. I think that's maybe what it is. Yeah. I don't know. Still nothing. Jordan Rutledge, I sent an invite to come up, but they just won't come up. It's really sad, really. Christians just don't want to come up and give evidence. The rapture must have happened today. They're just scared. Sorry. I'm not even that good. Not even that hard. Free houses. That's funny. Oh, man. You know what's going to solve the housing crisis? Rapture. Now everybody has a house. Yo, I checked, and apparently there's supposed to be a Nazareth in the first century. Yeah, at the end of the first century. Yeah, I'm talking about specifically the beginning of the first century because that's when Jesus was. Jesus doesn't even make it halfway through it. We do have some evidence of Nazareth being inhabited like later on, potentially after 70, after the first Jewish-Roman War. But prior to that, no. Oh, I've read the article on it. Yeah, there's nothing there. Quick super chat there for $4.99 from Tracy, formerly Onto, says, "What's long, hard, and full of semen? Submarines." I was gonna say Joel reads Bible, but semen. You spelled it as a C there, so submarines. Submarines is probably better. Ask Robinette to come up and explain lineage. Well, yeah, come on up. I don't. What? Robinette was talking about the. Robinette's talking about lineage of Jesus. Well, come on up and we'll talk about that. And then $1.99 on Super Chat. Thank you very much there from YouTube. On YouTube, from the Prototype 1619 says, Queef. Jesus Christ. Oh my God, you can't just, what? All right, $1.99 from Tracy, formerly Yonto, saying, taint, all caps. Why are my friends like this? Like, why? All right. They're still kind of talking back and forth about like some lineage stuff. Why am I like this? How old is Aisha? You can request up. You're no longer able to comment in the live, but you are able to request up. You can request up right about there or down here. I want to hear from you. I really do, but you're gonna have to actually nut up or shut up. What a username. Oh yeah. I mean, it's a good username, but he's gonna have to come up and actually like provide evidence for his claims. I don't know what Robinette's talking about. Robinette, you can come up as well. You're no longer able to comment, but just come up, man. We can have the conversation. Yeah, Amber. Yeah. Elizabeth Heretics. It's a valid question. The question that Robinette is asking, is that what you're saying? Because I don't even know what they're really asking. But Robinette can come up. It's fine. Oh, explain why you're not denying Jude? Jude? Oh no, Aisha. Oh yeah. Jude. Like just the brother of Jesus. Like we do in the book at least. We talk about. I mean, there's no like it's just it's a later it's just a later text. Yeah, I mean, I mean, he's said to have written things and stuff like that, and it's like, no, there's no possible way that some guy who's just the brother of a stonemason in Galilee is going to be able to write in Greek. And I mean, it's just really strange. So I don't even really address Jude because he's not even mentioned outside of like the Bible or outside of Christianity. And I understand that Paul isn't either, but Paul is supposedly somebody who writes um like half or like at least a third of the New Testament, but Jude isn't. It wouldn't really make a lot of sense that Jude was even capable of writing in Greek. That's what Robinette wanted to know. Oh, okay. All right, Jordan Rutledge, come on up. We've now reached the point to where you yourself are muted in the chat, but again, you can request up. That's fine. Just request up or accept the invite, and we'll talk about what you're bringing up. I think Christians are just kind of, over time, they've got kind of soft. Bunch of snowflakes are afraid to request up on a TikTok. If you're over on YouTube, you can request up on TikTok if you think you have evidence for Jesus or Paul. If you think there is historic evidence for these people, request up. The link is in the chat, or you can send a super chat and I'll read it out loud and respond. Yeah, there's a lot of people chatting over there on YouTube, but nothing over there. No one's, no one has the balls to send a super chat or to click the link and request up. No one. It's kind of sad, really. Kind of sad. Scared to have their whole worldview shattered. Yeah. They swore their life to something and they can't even defend it. Can't even come up and mention anything about it. I'd enjoy a cherry fruit splash ginger ale. That sounds pretty good. Look at the shroud. Duh. They are scared today. I have no idea. They never read the book. I think that's the problem. They never read it or never read it. Yeah. Came in clutch. Wait, what? What? Olander, what are you talking about? I don't know what he was talking about. It started to freak me out for reasons I'm not going to go into. Oh, that McConnell. Okay. All right. Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah. I got it when you said turtle. That's funny.
I like turtles.
Not this one, kid. Not this one. Resting up face, $5 there in super chat says, if you're going to wear all black, I recommend a rubber suit. Really seals in the flavor. Seals in the flavor. Yeah. Swear to me. Yeah. Hashtag swear to me. Awesome. That's funny. Orange, you tired of him? And not that one. Yeah, not that one. Not that one. I thought you were talking about a different McConnell. I don't. If someone's like, "Oh, hey, McConnell's in the hospital," I'm like, "Oh no, where's TJ? How are the Pacers doing? What are they doing?" That's my immediate. I don't think about Mitch McConnell. I think about Mitch McConnell as much as he thinks at all. And that's to say, never. All right. Barbecue flavor. This heat is making me realize why Batman was nocturnal. All right, Mike of the Congress doesn't want to say it's because of lineage. Yeah, the turtle part is what helped me understand. Yeah, because I heard McConnell and I'm like, TJ McConnell's in the hospital? This is terrible. And then someone said, and I searched it up and I didn't see anything. And then someone said turtle was it. I was like, oh, the turtle McConnell. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Turtle in the sense that he's extremely slow and about 150 years old. And much like the specimens from the Galapagos, we should have eaten a long time ago before they were even named with Latin nomenclature. Oh no, what if he's okay? That's funny. All right, only up to 100 in Phoenix. Gator don't play. Is he? Is Mitch McConnell still alive? Top search. Yeah, I think he's still alive. I think he's still alive. It's just I don't know what's going on. I think he was found unconscious or something like that in his home. Getting there. I guess I won all the debates. I think that's what happened. We do have one person who's coming up, which.
Oh shit.
Oh yep. Can I get your age for TikTok purposes?
82.
Yeah, you sound like it.
Yep.
And really fast, just as a bit of a litmus test, if you had like, I don't know, like a good friend or whatever on TikTok, and they sent you a friend request on Facebook, would you accept that?
Probably not, but you know, I'd accept his wife.
Yeah, that's understandable and very demeaning.
Yeah.
And once you accept the wife, and now you're able to get a friend request sent to you, would you do that? Would you accept that one?
Maybe.
Well, TikTok, Bree. Anyways, what's going on?
I didn't mean to request. I was just liking. What?
You mean to tell me that the first guest request in about 30 fucking minutes on here was a friendly who didn't mean to do it?
I mean, my cult leader's in the hospital. I can talk about that.
Your cult leader is Mitch McConnell?
Basically.
Turtle and Frog, just Mitch McConnell and whatever his name is, Gabbard or whatever his name is. What's his name?
Gothard.
Yeah, sorry, I got him confused with the other Republican. All right, anyways, that being said, how's he doing? Is he dead yet?
No, but he's in a coma that they're not anticipating he'll ever wake up from, so W.
I hear that. I hear that when people are in a coma and stuff, they can still like listen and stuff like that. So you should like find out what hospital he's in and just like talk to him, and, like tell him all the bad things that you experienced in his cult.
Can I just cuss him out instead?
Oh, you could do that if you want, but I mean, he's gonna expect that. Yeah.
He knows all the bad things he's done, but he doesn't care.
Well, then I guess you can cuss him out. That's fine too. Maybe he's in the same ward as Mitch McConnell.
Maybe. He could also be in the same ward as Josh Duggar. Who knows?
I don't know. By the way, this to anybody who doesn't know, this is Bree who's coming up here on the live. Bree escaped a Christian cult led by a guy who is now in the hospital. And she mentioned the Duggars because they were also part of that cult. Fun fact, she also almost dated one of them. Almost. Really wanted to. They ended up turning her down because she was the crazy one. The Duggars are like, we have a certain standard.
Yeah, it was called a cult.
Oh, I thought it was
And
a height
I didn't
requirement. Anyways, so...
A height requirement is
anyways, if you're not following Bree, you need to make sure that you are following Bree because she goes live. When's your next live?
Friday, we're going to do a Sims live and a true crime live at the same time.
How do you do that?
No,
Do you make the Sims do crimes?
No, that would get me taken down. I do that, but not on TikTok, only on Discord.
She said doo-doo, everybody. All right. Keep going.
Anyway. No, I'll be building East High School from High School Musical, and Vice will be giving a true crime report thingy while I'm building on TikTok.
You're going to have your Sims go to high school and commit crimes?
Maybe.
What in the Columbine fuck are you doing on Friday on TikTok?
No, I can't do any of the actual crimes on TikTok. That's a Discord thing. If you want to see how crazy my Sims get, join my Discord calls. I stream them on a regular. Shameless plug.
Check those out. I got to go see what she's doing. This is on Friday.
I already have downloaded Wicked Whims, Elizabeth. That's why I can't stream me actually playing on TikTok.
I don't know what that is.
You don't want to know. I can't say it on TikTok.
I think, I don't know if those are kids in the background or just really, really loud parrots.
Those would be my children. They're extremely bored. My eldest broke his wrist last night, so they're cooped up
Out of
and not allowed to
boredom?
do anything. Out of climbing a fence.
Was he escaping your cult?
No, he was escaping the bathroom at track.
Uh-huh.
Don't ask, he's sick. So
Say la
like,
vie.
he had a great time, and now he's really regretting it because now he's stuck inside for the rest of the summer.
I don't know what's going on. We do have one guest request here. Let's see. This is Mets fan 342.
Good afternoon.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well. Thank you very much. I have a question, if I may. Your standard for proof, verifiability, evidence, any kind of those words you'd like to use, would it be accurate to say it's basically based on things that are written, documentation?
I mean, sometimes it just kind of depends. There's different levels of confidence that we can have in something. Really fast. I don't take offense by this. Really fast. What are your pronouns? Really quick, just in case I end up say what?
I am a male.
So it's
male.
like just
I am a man.
Him. Would you be fine with
Yes.
that? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. All right. Okay. So keep going. Yeah, man. So as far as the evidence goes for different people, like we can take a look at archaeological things that we can date. their remains, the descendants, if possible. We can also take a look at things that they owned or things that they created, that kind of thing. These are things that are physical. Then you have written text.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The reason I'm asking is there any level of respect, for lack of a better word, or significance given to that which is oral? And the example I have in mind, for example, and I'm sure you're familiar with it, you're a relatively intelligent gentleman, African griot, who pass on stories, that without a written tradition, which tends to be a more Eurocentric and Western world kind of thing, versus an oral tradition. It tends to be more common in places like Africa. Wouldn't you agree there's a great deal of significance and respect needed for oral tradition as well?
I mean, no, considering the fact that that's not something we can track. By its own nature, it's not something that we can actually see when it comes up or when it pops up, and when we whether or not it's passed down. Like, we can't. There's no trail. Not really. But that being said, you can see, like, from an outsider's perspective, lots of times if they talk about a group inside. So, for instance, when the Christians are talked about prior to when the Gospels come out in the middle of the second century, because they're not written in the first, they're written in the second. But when the Christians are talked about prior to the second century, or when they're talked about in the early second century before the Gospels are published, there's no mention of a Jesus or anything like that. They interact, like Pliny the Younger, he interacts with Christians, he tortures them and finds out what they believe and stuff like that. And unfortunately unalives some of them there in Northern Asia Minor in 111. But he doesn't mention anything about the name Jesus or anything from the New Testament. So if they have stories that they're passing orally or even through written word, he's not aware of it, and that's really strange to have, like, a religion that is based on at the very least an oral transmission of stories, and then interact with them, and they don't say anything about it that we can tell.
In Christian tradition, there's a very strong sense that in the earliest times that there was such a strong belief that Jesus' return was going to be so imminent that I think, I don't want to call it mistaken, because you can understand they're taking that position, assuming, I know you would not, but assuming in my case the resurrection, that Jesus' return, his second coming, was so imminent that there was no need to write anything down until later on.
I mean, I understand what you're saying. Like, I understand, like, why they might have an oral transmission or something, but we don't have any evidence of that. Like, it would be a claim that kind of comes out of nowhere. Not to mention, excuse me, the one of the bigger problems is not just the lack of any kind of story that the Christians are connected to prior to the middle of the second century. It's also the fact that the early church fathers basically argued my case and, like, cut your argument off at the knees, because they're trying to say that these texts are written super early. If you were to go back in time and talk to Eusebius, an early Christian historian in the early 4th century, an admitted liar as well, but still, if you were to go back in time and talk to him and say, oh, the Gospel of Matthew was written in, like, the 80s, right? Like, which is this, like, the scholarly consensus today is that it's written around 80 or so. If you were to go back in time and tell him that, he would look at you like you just took a shit in his cereal, because no, he tried to say that the Gospel of Matthew was written in 41, not 80. So they are actively trying to argue for early dates because they believe that gives them more authority. If they had admitted that these things were later and they're based off of oral transmission, then that's fine, I guess. But, like, they didn't seem concerned in the slightest about talking about it, promoting it, or even making it up. So if there's not, if the early church fathers are not concerned with oral transmission, I don't know why. Realistically, the only reason we bring it up now is because we see how big of a problem it would be for no stories to be talked about and then all of a sudden a bunch of stories to pop up. And even if what you're saying is correct and Eusebius is he's just got his head up his ass and he doesn't remember, he doesn't know. Even if what you're saying is correct, you somehow have to explain how oral transmission for these stories, like say Jesus meeting with Nicodemus, this is something that had been passed down, I guess. But when Mark gets written, no mention. Matthew gets written, no mention. Luke gets written, no mention. John gets written, mention. Every other gospel, no mention.
Well,
How did this happen?
Different. No, I don't even want to say authors because probably redactors or editors of the combined tradition is probably more accurate in from a Christian point of view. Writing for different audiences with different purposes, for different reasons.
What purpose doesn't like? For what purpose would you want to exclude the story that says, "For God so loved the world that He gave His only Son, that whosoever believeth in Him will have eternal life"? And
I think
that's pretty much that's the most famous verse of all time of the New Testament. Like, how is that not? How is that not like the paramount, like the main thing in literally all the Gospels? And you think it's only found in one?
Explicitly or implicitly, I think it is contained in all the Gospels.
It's not. It's not. The story of Jesus meeting with Nicodemus and explaining the concept of being born again and everything like that literally doesn't happen in any other Gospels except John. It's really weird.
That's why I said implicitly.
So in other words, there's a story that happens and none of them mention it, but they imply that it happened by never mention Nicodemus, who's only time is like that time.
I don't have a great deal of trouble with, for lack of a better word, the conflicts that may exist, the inconsistencies that may exist when some of the most important general themes are consistent. That even, as Christianity is taught in Christian theology schools, it generally is presented in the sense that the Gospels kind of begin at first, not with a whole story of Jesus' life. Obviously, Matthew and Luke are the only ones who even include infancy narratives, but that kind of begin and work backward. Jesus is risen from the dead. And that's the original character. That's the original good news. And then there's a building back over time, building backwards, if you will, where some things are included, certain miracles, certain signs, certain wonders, certain conflicts, certain, all kinds of things. I don't have a great deal of trouble with that. I can see that happening in communities. And also the fact that that community and that belief grows exponentially in a matter of time is somewhat remarkable to me.
What do you mean?
That this basically starts out with a small following, to put it maybe oversimplistically.
Oh, are you saying like, and what kind of
11
small
guys
following?
hiding under a table, cowering?
No.
To go from, rapidly
No,
growing.
it says that he had 5,000 people listening to him on the side of a mountain during one sermon.
Yeah, but I mean, by and large, looking throughout, the entire Roman Empire, as it spreads
5,000 people listening to a guy? About 10% of the population of Jerusalem listening to a guy?
And there's a large area of Israel at that time, a large area of the Roman Empire.
You don't think that 5,000 people, you think that 5,000 people listening to one sermon is a guy who is like small time? Like
whether you believe it or not, do you believe that you could deny the exponential growth of Christianity in the first 3 centuries?
No. That exponential growth? No, it just happens over time. In fact, the first 3 centuries of like CE, because like we can see it with roots in the 1st century BCE. Hell, we can see it with roots depending on which god you want to connect it to. You see it with roots going all the way back to the beginning of the 3rd century BCE.
It's been obviously over 2,000 years, and we're talking billions of people now.
Well, okay, that's just a dog shit argument because at this point now, like, how do you think the people down in like South America heard the story?
Through missionary preaching
Yeah, and those missionaries that ended up teaching them how to speak Spanish. What country are they from?
The missionaries?
Yep.
Predominantly Europe at the time.
Okay,
Now,
and that was part of
ironically,
what empire?
Roman Empire.
And the Roman Empire became what religion in 380?
It eventually becomes Christianity.
Yeah. So it's not it's not just crazy that we have billions of people today. Yeah.
But I don't think the legality is the only
we have
reason that it
Spain,
lasts.
Portugal, France, England. We've got the Netherlands. We got a whole bunch of different countries that were once part of the Roman Empire that became Christian, who after the Roman Empire falls apart or dissolves, you end up with them colonizing the entire planet, and you somehow think that the amount of people that they have spread to, this religion has spread to, is somehow evidence that it was real?
Well, why wouldn't it fall apart?
What do you mean, why wouldn't it fall apart? How would somebody over in fucking Ecuador have any clue? Some Inca person who's saying, oh, hey, you either believe this or you get pew-pewed. Like, how do they have any clue as to whether or not Jesus really did exist?
Because that's not always the case in the world today, where conversions still happen.
Sweet, yeah. That's why some people like myself have realized that this story is bullshit. But others will assume that the early church fathers were reliable to some extent. But we can tell pretty easily that they were lying, and in some cases, maybe deceived or something like that, or duped into thinking one particular thing. But in many cases, the vast majority of cases, they were not talking about something that they really had good evidence for, unless it was something that was going on at their lifetime or something that they were actually seeing themselves and talking about. They didn't really have much of an idea as to what the hell they were talking about.
I believe it was the witness of the martyrs, when people saw a willingness to, before it becomes legalized under Constantine or institutionalized, if you like that word. The fact that people are willing to go to martyrdom for this.
Yeah, the Mormons were willing to be martyred as well for an open secret, according to the grandson of Sidney Rigdon, one of the friends of Joseph Smith, that he and his grandfather just made it all up. Like, the Mormons were able to do that. The people who follow Jim Jones down to Jonestown are able to drink the Flavor Aid. The people who fly into buildings on 9/11, they're able to do it. I mean, come on, man. Like, it's pretty obvious that dying for your belief does not mean anything.
I don't think anybody's going to be following Jim Jones 2,000 years from now.
I'm pretty sure they already did that, and they were willing to die for their beliefs.
And it would have lasted on if it was something substantially true.
No,
I
don't think you understand what I'm saying. I'm saying just because you're willing to die for your belief does not mean that it's true. Do you believe that the people who were willing to die for Jim Jones meant that Jim Jones was speaking the truth?
No, because we're talking about
okay. So just because
just
because you are willing to die for your beliefs does not make it accurate.
I think we're talking about something on a much larger scale. I apologize. I want to thank you.
Your argument is that they would not be willing to die for this, and you tried to say that it was a small religion initially. So which is it? Is it like a few people willing to die, or is this something on a larger scale? You tried to argue earlier that this was just something really small. Now you're trying to say that it's on a larger scale?
Again, small relative to the world. Unfortunately, I have to go. I have company coming over. I do appreciate your dialogue, your intelligence, and your respectfulness. I'd like to thank you for that. Okay? Thank you very much.
Yep. Thanks for coming up.
Okay.
Let's see. Bree. You're still here on the chat.
Yeah, you know how many people on YouTube keep asking who Paul is? I think it's like every other comment is certified. Who's Paul? Who's Paul? What is Paul?
I don't understand why Paul isn't something that everybody just knows about. I don't get it. I really don't. Yeah, if you're on YouTube, you can request up. The link is in the chat. They're on YouTube. I take guests on TikTok because YouTube doesn't allow for me to take guests. If you don't have a TikTok or don't want to come up, you can send a super chat. I promise I will read it out loud and respond to it. I've already read out some of the super chats that have come through. Even if you're just saying, oh, hey, here's the evidence for Jesus, or asking a question, or saying that the guy in the cowboy hat looks like a dumb douchebag. That's fine, too. If you want to say something about Brie, you can say something about Brie.
What? I don't know about that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Everyone on the panel is fair game.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's the price you pay for getting to come up here and do some shameless plugs for your high school crimes.
That's not what I'm doing.
No, I'm talking about trying to date Duggars.
I was in high school.
I know, that's a high school crime. That's what I'm saying.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Anyways. Over on TikTok, there is somebody who says, there were guys named Yeshua and they are all dead. Paul tried to invent Christianity. I wouldn't say that Paul even existed. If anybody's got evidence for Jesus or Paul, come on up. Oh, we do have let's see, $1.99 from the prototype 1619.
I cannot.
$1.99 from the prototype 1619 says, Queefron squeaks. I don't even know what the hell that means. But
I don't know.
I
give up.
I don't like it, but that's how that goes.
Oh my God. Stop.
Does your family know that you are known as Squeaks or a mouse here on TikTok?
My husband does, and he thinks it's hysterical. I show him every single one of Jake's AI photos of me, and he cracks up every single time.
Oh man, those are good. They're funny when they're not of me.
Yeah, I agree. They're funny when they're of you.
No. Oh, by the way, do you show him the home renovation videos as well?
No, but I showed him the 22-minute one you sent me yesterday because he was home. And I said, this motherfucker. And I threw the phone at him. And he's like, what is this? And I was like, I don't know. He just tags me in home reno videos. And this one is 22 minutes long. And I'm not watching it. I'm not doing it.
Oh, my God. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny because home renovation is something that means so much to so much of us.
And you don't even follow me on that account, so I'm not really sure how you find me all the time to tag me.
What's funny is that so I don't even know why I tagged you to begin with, but
I don't know.
Thinking about you, I guess. But the point is, I hopped off my the live on my phone after I ended it, and it just showed it showed some home renovation thing or whatever, and I was just like, I'm gonna annoy Bree with this. So I tagged it, but I never use this other account, this backup account here, which is what's logged in on my phone. So every time I hop off the live, literally every time, it will immediately show me a home renovation video.
Awesome.
That's just what it is. It just every time. That's what my FYP is on that backup. Is just nothing but straight home renovation.
You've done this to yourself. And you know what? It doesn't even affect my FYP because all I do, I don't even like it. I just respond to your comment. You never respond back. And then I move on.
It's because I don't use that profile. I won't see your comment until the next day when I inevitably tag you in another one. That's how life goes, or as mice say, that's how the cheese crumbles.
The cheese crumbles is crazy.
Speaking of cheese, the reason why earlier today, I was surprised at what my wife brought. She brought out a little like charcuterie board thing. It's actually pretty cool. Very, very sweet of her. So I'm trying to save some of it so that she can have some of it because she did a lot of work on this thing. Let me see if I can show. Look at this. Look at this thing. Look at this thing. There's like strawberries and crackers and all kinds of stuff. It's pretty cool.
She must
Pretty
like
cool.
you.
She must. I don't know why. No idea.
I don't know.
No
Shocker.
idea. It's probably
To be
because she
honest.
accepted my friend request a long time ago. That's what helps build relationships. That's the idea.
Yeah.
And no, I'm not
It's a
saying
good thing that I accepted her friend request.
Yeah. So yeah. I'm not saying that's what I'm saying. I'm I'm not saying that you should now marry my wife and take her from me. That's not what I'm
I
saying.
mean, that sounds like a valid option, to be honest.
No, it doesn't. It sounds like an awful option where I am alone with my charcuterie board.
Sad days for you, but great days for me.
Let's see. We got somebody who's questing up. I think. Flex.
Hey, how you doing? I'm 56. I'm in California. I'm a friendly.
Okay.
I have a dumb question for you.
Say a dumb question.
I have a dumb question for
Well,
you.
it can't be dumber than a lot of the people who come up here and ask me all kinds of questions. So come on up. What you got?
I got, like I said, I bought your book, and I really do enjoy reading it. It's so hard to read a book when you're stuck to a computer and you've been conditioned, so to speak, to read, off the computer. But anyway, I clearly understand that there's no evidence for Jesus or Paul, but what do some scholars point to as evidence of a Lucifer or a devil? Is that even remotely possible without being magical and Star Wars about it?
Yeah,
or
it just has to be magical. I mean, yeah, it's because he's loosely based on the idea of, or primarily based, I guess.
He's the antithesis in the character in the story. He's the bad person. You know what I mean?
Who?
So I was wondering, like, if they don't have any evidence for the good guy, then what was the supposed evidence for the bad guy other than just being made up?
Yeah, they need a rival. Yeah. Yeah, a little bit of yin and the yang and the yang and the yin, if you know what I mean.
Right. So where would you say that it come from? It could possibly have come from other much older viewpoints that had a bad guy character, and they
Hasatan shows up in the Old Testament, like the Jewish beliefs and whatnot, and so it's just kind of sort of loosely based on that kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, that was all.
They only kind of bring that up, like Hasatan shows up as he's like he's the adversary. He's like he's somebody who goes against the gods and stuff. Like it's just like a bad guy in the pantheon for the Canaanites.
Oh, okay. All right. I was just curious. That was all I wanted to know. I just thought maybe that may have came across in your studies and what you thought about it.
I mean, to answer your question though, in all honesty, it does require magic. Like there's no unless you believe in magic, there's no Satan.
Right. I got you.
Yeah.
All right, that was it. That was pretty much I wanted. I appreciate you.
All right, so thank you very much. That was Flex, everybody. That was Flex. And there's one more person here. I think I've talked to this person before. Pretty sure. I'm not really sure. Business.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, what'd you get?
Hey, I just wanted to know. You say that Marcion wrote the Gospel of Mark.
No.
Oh, what do you say about like Marcion and Mark? How are they related?
Because Mark is probably like a play version or like a meant to be read aloud version of his gospel, maybe. Especially since it's called the Gospel of Mark, according to Mark, and the way that Marcion's name was pronounced was Markion. It means little Mark. But I don't say that Mark was written by Marcion. It's just that it's probably just like a play version of the gospel that's presented by him.
You said it's known as Little Mark.
Marcion means little Mark.
Like in what language? What do you mean?
In Greek. His name's Markion, little Mark. The Eon is like a diminutive kind of way to say someone's name back then. Herodian, little Herod. Markion, little Mark.
Okay, so what the heck? Okay, so how come like no scholars accept that?
That his name is little Mark? They all do.
No, that Marcion is based on Gospel of Mark.
What?
Or that the Gospel of Mark comes from Marcion.
It doesn't. Jesus Christ, dude. What's happening?
You said the Gospel of Mark is like the play version of
Yeah, I would
Marcion's
say that
Gospel.
it's like a play version or something meant to be read aloud based on the gospel, and the first gospel
Yeah,
published
why
would
do
be
you say that?
Marcion's.
Why do you say that? Like, what is your reasoning for that?
Because of the fact that for which part? The play part or the idea that Marcion comes first? Like which part are you having trouble with?
I guess that Marcion comes first would need to be addressed first because
Okay. Well, considering the fact that it has fewer stories and Mark has more, like with the, for instance, the baptism of Jesus. Jesus gets baptized in the stories, but in Evangeline, he doesn't get baptized. Seeing as Evangeline would come before Matthew and before Luke, and therefore before John, Mark would somehow, if it's written before that, would be something that talks about the baptism of Jesus, and then you have a gospel that doesn't have him baptized, and then afterwards all of them have him baptized. It would make more sense that there's one that doesn't have him baptized, and then all of a sudden that's introduced into the story and kept in the story. As well as the Gospel of Mark is more robust and fuller than the Gospel of Evangeline. Gospel of Evangeline is smaller, and just by taking a look at the numbers, if you were to observe the, let's see here. Let's see. If you were to take a look at the two source hypothesis issue or the synoptic problem, let's see if we can pull this up. Here we go. Yeah. Are you familiar with what that is?
No.
Okay. So the synoptic problem is this concept here. Let me pull this up. Okay. So the three gospels, what we end up with is 76% of Mark is used in Luke and Matthew, or it is the same, or not necessarily used, but it's the same material. Only 3% of Mark is even unique to Mark, or just found in Mark, like exclusive to this gospel. Then, because it goes Mark, then Matthew, then Luke, Matthew has 10%, or sorry, not 10%, 20%, 20% that is unique to its gospel. So it goes from 3 to 20, and then finally you have 35% in Luke that is unique to Luke. The reason for this is because the later a text gets, the more likely it is to be, or the less likely it is to be used by something else. Does that make sense? If you're going to be basing your books off of things that come before it, the later you are, the less likely you are to be used by someone else.
Okay.
So the issue here is just by taking a quick look at the numbers here, the Gospel of Evangeline, if you were to include like something in here next to Mark or over to the side or something like that, 100% of Evangeline is found in at least some other gospel. Meaning, if we're going to be taking a look at these numbers and working backwards, 35, like counting down, 35% from the third one, 20% from the second one, 3% from the first one, then Evangeline would have 0, which would make it before Mark, because it is absolutely utilized. All the stories in Evangeline are utilized in other texts, all of them.
Evangeline is Marcion's gospel, right?
Correct.
So you said 100% of that is used everywhere?
100% of it is used in different texts.
Didn't you say Marcion also has a story that Jesus came down from the sky?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the meaning of Jesus came down to Capernaum at the very beginning of the text. Tertullian takes to say that means like descended down from heaven. If you want to argue that that's not there, it's not there, but the same verbiage is used elsewhere. So it's like it's still used in the other text as well. It's just that we take that as he came from somewhere else. In fact, I tried to make that point there in the Gospel of Luke, which utilizes Evangeline pretty much word for word between chapters 4 and 22, and then with slight edits or slight additions. And the person that I was talking to on the panel a couple of weeks ago was trying to say that the word down there could potentially mean like in elevation, which
Yeah,
sounds
like coming
stupid,
down from a
but
mountain.
yeah, it sounds stupid, but especially since it's trying to say that he's coming from an area that's not really on a mountain, really. But nevertheless, sure, why not? It still highlights the fact that we can still utilize the same text that with the same verbiage that Marcion had and take it in a different way. Tertullian says that Marcion meant it in a different way, but today we might not take it that same way, but it's still the same word. So 100% of Marcion is used. It's just you don't take it that same way, is what I'm saying.
Okay, so Gospel of Mark wasn't necessarily like fully based on Marcion's stuff.
Say what?
You said like you're saying that Gospel of Mark isn't fully.
No, it's based on the IP. It's like shit. It's like fucking the Harry Potter movies or something like that. There's a screenplay writer for the Harry Potter movies that isn't J.K. Rowling, right? Like they had to write like the actual like live action
to
version
add
of this.
stuff to it.
Yeah, it's an adaptation of it for the screen. And so there's going to be some things that are different from other things, or some things that are added and some things that are taken away.
And so that's why you date all the Gospels to what
It would need to be
later
after
than 140.
Evangelion, which would be published in roughly 144. So I would say Mark about 145-ish maybe.
But is that the
Evangelion is
reason why you put it there?
144. Is that the reason why I put it there?
Why you date there? Yeah.
Yeah, I dated to 145 because of that. I mean, it's no later or it's no earlier than about the 130s or so because it mentions things like this abomination of desolation, which even Jerome identified as the statue that Hadrian placed on the Temple Mount, the Bar Kokhba revolt. So it's definitely post mid 130s, but I would say that it's right around the time of Evangelion, maybe a little bit afterwards. It doesn't even get fucking quoted until like the 150s, so it doesn't matter.
Okay. So how come like scholars don't accept what you're saying?
Because generally speaking, most scholars are religious and they have skin in the game. Are you talking about like non-religious scholars who have to like sign documents? This is something, by the way, that Dan McClellan, an actual scholar, has stated on a video that he recently posted. Scholars have to sign documents that say, hey, like, we are not going to go against what this particular religious institution that we work for is actually like saying, like what their beliefs are. Like this is a real thing. It sounds conspiratorial, but an actual scholar, Dan McClellan, says that this is a thing. He's seen these documents before. So I don't know what to tell you. But scholars also, generally speaking, don't rock the boat too much unless they have good receipts for things. So lots of times near the end of their careers, you'll see a lot of scholars that will say slightly different things. There are scholars who will talk about how Marcionite priority is a real thing. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's scholars that think that.
They think that, but like
That Marcion's gospel is the first one.
Then why does like the Markan priority take?
Because the majority of scholars believe that Mark is from 70 and it's the first one, because when we're just taking a look at the canonical gospels, it is the earliest of the four, so it's just kind of easier just to kind of go with that. Still, Markan priority of the canonical gospels is still what I believe in, but I'm just saying that it's also something that comes from Evangelion. Like it borrows that material. I mean, I still believe in Markan priority of the four canonical.
Gotcha.
But it's just in the 2nd century. That's all that it is. The only reason that they date it to the 1st century is because they're wanting to compromise with more conservative scholars who want Mark to be super, super early, as well as it mentions the destruction of the temple in Mark 13, so they just have to put it around the temple sometime. It being destroyed in 70. But that's not how that works. Just because it mentions something in 70 doesn't mean that it came out around 70. Just because you name him Darren doesn't mean he belonged to Darren. Anyways, what you got? What else?
I had something else. Give me 1 second. I just got to check my notes.
Blue Cajun got the joke or the quote.
Pull the lever, Kronk.
Oh, for you?
Yeah.
All right.
Pull the lever, Kronk.
She started screaming. While this guy's looking at his notes there, we got $1.99 there on Super Chat from Tracy, formerly Yonto, who says, blowing you a big moist queef. What the fuck are you talking about? Why are you guys
need more of
doing
those.
that? No, we don't. Matthew, what? Anyways, if you're on YouTube and you want to come up, you can. The chat, the link is in the chat. I take guests on TikTok. If you don't want to come over on TikTok, send a Super Chat. I will read it out loud and respond to you. Promise.
Hey,
Anyways, what you got?
what was your evidence for the Christians being in BC?
What? Are we done with the whole Mark stuff?
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much all I had. I just wanted to understand, like I thought you were saying that Marcion's gospel had come first, and they just like edited it into becoming the Gospel of Mark. So I was a little confused.
Not really
So
edited
makes
it
sense
to
what you
become
said.
that. It's pulling from that. Like he creates the IP, and then they just
Yeah,
kind
makes
of make like a play version. Because I mean, if you're gonna like use a drama, you might add some certain things, you might take away some certain things, change it up slightly.
That makes sense. I mean, I'm still gonna like keep looking into that, but I don't have anything else to say about that right now. I was just curious, like what you pull for the evidence of Christians being in BC.
Would you like to handle that, Matthew, or would you like me to?
You can handle that one.
Yeah, I figured as much. CILVI 24944 mentions Christians in a inscription that dates between 16 BCE and 37 CE.
That's it.
Yep.
Okay,
as well
so
as a cup that dates to the end of the second or end of the first century BCE to like really early first century CE. Also mentions through Crestus the magician and uses Crestus. If this was something that had came from like a Christian who believed that Jesus was supposed to be the Messiah, it would be weird that they themselves would call it Crestus. It's one thing to say, oh, hey, like Crestus and Christus are so close that maybe it was a fucking problem from the people who were writing it, or like these historians who were listening to the Christians say it. Maybe they just got it wrong. But this is a cup. This is not made from historians. These are things made by the people who are part of the religion, and they're spelling it the wrong way? Yeah. Anyways. Also, the earliest codex for the New Testament actually uses Christians with an E when it says Christians. So it's pretty clear that they've got that connection there.
but
I'd also like to point out that Nero fastened the blame for Christians according to Tacitus, fastened the blame for the fire onto the Christians according to Tacitus, and he would have to know by 64, like if Jesus was real, he'd have to somehow know the difference between a Christian and a Jew and have some kind of issue with that. Nero.
Oh, Nero.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, they still had like oral traditions then, right?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Like stories about Jesus, but just spread like.
Unfortunately, we don't have any evidence of any of the first century Christians or Christians having any kind of concept of a Jesus. Because they don't show up until Marcion.
And then what do you say? I forgot what that thing was, but that depiction of a guy worshiping like a donkey head on a cross, and they said that was Jesus.
What about it?
Wouldn't that be evidence of somebody worshiping Jesus as a like as God?
In the 3rd century? Who cares?
That was from the 3rd century?
Yeah. Why would it matter?
Yeah, I guess if it's 3rd century, that wouldn't matter.
Yeah, not to mention it doesn't say Jesus Christ, Jew, Christian, nothing in there. It just says Alexamenos worships as God. It'd also be very, very strange just because it's a donkey head or just because it's something that kind of looks like a donkey, because there's some scholars who say that it's a jackal. But just because it looks like a donkey or whatever, even if it was a donkey, who cares? Like, why would that, just because your guy has some kind of a story with a donkey, who knows about the donkey story to the point to where they put the donkey head on Jesus and they're like, ha, ha, ha. Why would they care about that?
Well, I think it's more like mocking. I don't think
Yeah,
it's
but
because
why?
he rode a donkey.
Okay, but why? There's plenty of gods that have heads of animals.
As donkeys, though?
There's
Donkeys
no evidence
are
that
like
it's an
known to be
actual
dumb.
donkey. The only reason you're thinking a donkey is because your brain is predetermined, or it's already got like a presupposition of like Jesus and donkey like connected. There's no evidence that it's an actual like making fun of anything. It's just there. I mean, there's. I mean, even if it is or a horse, like who? Okay, there's no evidence that it's really making fun of anybody, much less Christians. But even if it was making fun of Christians explicitly, okay, cool. It's from the 3rd century.
Okay.
There's so many different hurdles that we'd have to get through or get over in order for this to be evidence for Jesus, and it just doesn't get there.
What was the CLVI thing you said?
CILVI 24944.
CILVL
VI
2944. So you're saying that
mentions Christians.
It says Christians?
Yes.
Okay, so you're saying they were worshiping a deity.
No, it just
and
says
that word means deity.
Well,
okay,
the word itself means followers of Christus.
But I mean, I remember seeing something. Okay, this is from Cambridge University. It says something about that is a like a name given, kind of like freedman or.
That's Christus.
Christianus?
No, Christus. Christus is a name. Christians is a group, where it's someone who means like a people who follow Christus. Like Christians versus Christus, you understand that there's a difference, right? Christians that's not what Jesus was called. He wasn't called Jesus Christian. It was Jesus Christ, and Christian comes from Christ, right?
Right.
Same concept.
So, but you also agree that Christians are Christians.
What?
But you also agree that Christians are Christians.
Yep.
Okay, so I mean, at some point, like they could have. I feel like that's just like a translation issue.
Okay. Doesn't matter. It still predates the supposed lifetime of Jesus, so why do I give a shit? Okay.
I mean,
someone heard Christian and heard
dates to
Christian. Okay.
37
They still
CE.
wrote it as early as 16 BCE, so I don't know what to tell you.
Where do you get that 16 BC from? It says 37 CE.
That's the latest of the range.
That's fine. We can use that range.
Okay.
Why do
You think that
you
think
throw
that there
out?
were people called Christians in Rome in 37 when the Bible says they were first called Christians in Antioch in the 50s? Oops.
What are you talking about?
That's what it says in the Bible, is that they were first called Christians in Antioch. So you're saying that sometime prior to 37, they are in Rome called Christians, and someone hears it and mistranslates it. Yeah. Anyways, you got anything else?
So I mean, I don't really know what you're talking about. So what are you talking about?
I understand you might not know what's going on, but nevertheless, it's still not following what the Christians are saying. In fact, the Bible says that they were called followers of the way until they were called Christians in Antioch. Then you also have what?
What would that word be? Followers of the way.
It's definitely not the word Christians.
Sure. Yeah. Well, but what would the word be?
Doesn't fucking matter. It's not Christians. Also, on top of that, the later Christian historians like Epiphanius and Eusebius do not say that they were called followers of the way. They say that they were called Jessians.
All right. Christ.
And they try to say that the Jessians were talked about by Philo of Alexandria, but Philo of Alexandria calls them Therapeutai, which they say are the first earliest Christian monks. And the earliest Christian monks mentioned by Philo of Alexandria are this Therapeutai that are around Lake Marotus in 20. That's weird. That's before Jesus' supposed ministry starts. Not to mention they're associated with Serapis, Greco-Egyptian god, Serapis, according to inscriptions on the Greek island of Delos.
I feel like it's fine for Christians to be associated with multiple groups.
Okay. Sounds good, man.
So, I mean, if they want to talk about Serapis, that's fine. But
yeah, that's not a problem. Yeah. So whenever Christians call themselves that in the oldest codex and in Justin Martyr's writings and in Marcion's writings, I guess that's fine. Sounds good, man. And also, by the way, if there's multiple groups and Christians might not be Christians, then I guess Tacitus, you can throw that out the window for evidence for Jesus. Is that what you're saying? Because he might be talking about a different one.
What does he say about them?
He says that they were blamed for the fire in Rome.
As Christians, right?
Yep.
Then why did they change it to Christians?
Because at a certain point, you end up with people who are more concerned with Jesus being the Christ, an actual Messiah, as opposed to just some child or the son of God, some previously different God or previously unknown God who's a completely different God from Yahweh.
God, all right, I've got a lot to look into. This shit's just confusing. Appreciate it.
Yeah, well, early mystery cults are kind of like that because what we're trying to do is we're trying to basically wrangle cats. They're going all over the place. Mystery cults just kind of evolved from each other and took on new life and different forms based on what community you were in. I mean, if you were more familiar with like Jewish people, you would probably be more connected with them. If you were more familiar with like Egyptian shit, you would probably take on more of what they have. Like when Emperor Hadrian in the 130s writes a letter down to his friend in Alexandria that says the Christians in Alexandria worship Serapis. A bishop of Christ in Alexandria is none other than a bishop of Serapis. So yeah, it's almost as if these communities are just kind of taking in these different things that are around them. And so it's kind of hard to keep track of all of it, really. That's the problem.
I looked into that Hadrian thing because you had mentioned that last time. And I mean, I found that like, that's almost like less reliable than like the Bible because it has a bunch of like
when is
BS
the first time that it's
writes.
mentioned? Also, it doesn't have a lot of BS in it. It's in a book that also has some BS in it, some good, some bad. The first time it's mentioned is the 4th century. So either Hadrian actually did write that letter, or somebody in the 4th century was able to suss out the fact that the Christians are connected to Serapis, which, by the way, is what they talked about in the 4th century by saying the Therapeutai were the earliest Christian monks. On top of that, there's no other claims that the Christians were following any other deity other than either Yahweh or Serapis. So I guess someone in the 4th century was able to suss out a lot of the stuff that we're also able to see now. So either this is a real thing or someone in the 4th century was hotter in their trails. So it doesn't matter to me if you think that it's fake. It's still mentioned in the 4th century, so I don't give a shit.
Do you know of any other writings that mention, like, because you said I know Crestus is a title. Is there any other like deities or anything that they use for that? You just said it was just Jesus and Serapis.
Isis.
But that Isis is from like the same Serapis line, right? It's like his mother or something.
Yep.
Okay, and that's like okay. All right, gotcha. There's nothing else that you know of about Crest that mentions Crestus as.
I mean, it's also a name that again meant like a good one,
like a household name
used for a slave. Yeah.
Okay. All right, man.
We see the concepts of the word Crestus, or we see mentions of the word Crestus going back into I think it's in Homer or Euripides, one of the two, but a long time ago, a long time before all this comes to fruition. We have the name Crestus popping up. Just means the good one or the useful one.
Okay. All right, man. Appreciate it.
That was business. All business. All business.
What?
No, no, I was just talking about all business there.
Okay.
I feel like you're not understanding anything I'm saying, Lil John.
Yeah.
Okay. What's going on, Matthew?
Well, I just want to hop back in, and see if you had any answers to my Jude points earlier.
Dude, no, I don't, because the points were just kind of there.
I just don't have answers because Jesus was real.
No, there's no Jude, dude. Hey, that rhymed.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what proof do you
didn't know
have that his bones weren't buried somewhere out there that we just haven't found yet? I mean, we already found the James ossuary, so we probably got like a Jude ossuary hiding out there somewhere.
You do know you can eat shit, right?
Wow. Depends. Let's go back to that conversation we had about how that might have tasted better.
When was this shit taken? Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much for the super chat there. Nothing said in it, but it is from Patuo or something. It is for €1. €1. Thank you very, very much. Again, if you're on YouTube and you want to request up, you can click the link in the chat. That takes you over to TikTok. If you don't have TikTok or don't want to come up, send a super chat. I'll respond to it. If you're on TikTok, the link is above Matthew's head or down here. You can request up, and I'd like to hear some evidence for Jesus or Paul. I really would. I think Matthew would too. Would you like to hear evidence for Jesus or Paul?
Yeah, let's see if somebody can beat my James Jude argument.
Dude, for the love of Darwin, I don't know why you keep bringing up Jude as if the church tradition is just to be believed.
I mean, the emperor himself met these people.
Yeah, according to who? Christian tradition?
To the historian Hegesippus. According to the historian Eusebius.
Oh, okay. All right. This is getting worse. If this doesn't end in Franklin Graham, I'm not really sure if it could get any better.
So, then how do you explain James if you don't accept the fact that Jude was
How do I
Jesus'
explain
brother?
James? I don't.
Yeah. Well, because you can't. Because he met Paul. Therefore, Paul had to exist. And he met Jesus. Therefore, Jesus had to exist because he was his brother.
You know, earlier, Pixie's place.
Trying to keep it entertaining.
She said, "I see why you guys are best friends." And
and they're watching it fall apart right now.
My God. No, this nutsack over here, like, I don't think I've ever really... I don't know if I've ever been angry with him, really. I don't know. Hey, he said
Except when I
something.
come on the lives.
Yeah, I'll be like, God damn it. No. I think for the most part, yeah, we've disagreed on some things, definitely.
Yeah. We had that one, John the Baptist thing we did on, that one time. But there's that, and then there's clearly this James Jude thing.
Clearly, yeah, that's one big thing.
Yeah, and then how do you explain the gospel I wrote?
I definitely don't. Also, the biggest disagreement that Matthew and I have had over the last month, believe it or not, is whether or not he would sit on a motorcycle at a dealership and take a picture.
And the answer was no.
The answer ended up being no. I wanted to take a picture and be like, hey, this is Matthew on a motorcycle. Yeah. And he was like, I'm not going to sit on that shit. And guess what? He didn't sit on that shit.
Yeah. These metaphysical arguments, because I'm going to. So anyways, as we read in the King James Bible, which is the only real version, Jesus existed. And you see all those manuscripts they found after were actually planted by Satan. That's why they disagree with the King James Version, because the King James Version is divinely inspired.
Mm-hmm.
So, if it's divinely inspired, then you have to accept Jesus was real. I mean, how can you prove that it's not if the manuscripts that they found afterwards were not, if those were fake? It's tough. You can tell I've been hanging around some pretty good circles lately. There we got an argument there. King James was closer to Jesus' time, so it's the most correct. And it was authorized. I mean, that alone. It's like an affidavit almost. Speaking of affidavits, you never really answered why you don't accept that the Book of Mormon has affidavits, that it was true and that Jesus appears in that.
What is happening right now?
Are we going to pull the lever on me? Oh,
no, I'm not. I'm pulling up a quote from Origin really fast. But as if, in all the instances of this covering, i.e. of this history, the logical connection and order of the law had been preserved, we would not certainly believe, when thus possessing the meaning of the scripture in a continuous series, that anything else was contained in it, save what was indicated on the surface. So for that reason, divine wisdom, in other words, God, took care that certain stumbling blocks or interruptions to the historical meaning should take place by the introduction into the midst of the narrative of certain impossibilities and incongruities, that in this way the very interruption of the narrative might, as by the interposition of a bolt, present an obstacle to the reader, whereby he might refuse to acknowledge the way which conducts to the ordinary meaning, and being thus excluded and debarred from it, we might be recalled to the beginning of another way. Jesus Christ, look at holy run-on sentences, Batman. Like, in other words, he's saying that, like, if the New Testament doesn't make sense to you on the surface, that's on purpose. And God, in his divine wisdom, put impossibilities and incongruities into the text, in order to make you believe it spiritually because it doesn't line up with history.
It's almost like a proto-presuppositionalist type argument.
Yeah. Well, kind of. Or not really presuppositionalist.
Like
almost more
Calvinist.
just like, yeah. Or just like the idea that, like, hey, like, you're either going to get it or you're not.
Right, yeah. So anyways, since you won't engage on the historical Jesus or Paul, about God's rectum.
All right. So anyways, I don't what?
Well, I had to leave when we were in the middle of that conversation earlier. So I don't know if y'all came to a resolution or not.
No, after you left, Joel decided to leave as well. And fast.
Because we won, I don't even know whose side was.
Yeah, I don't think that we were really. I think it was just a conversation.
We were all on the same page. Yeah. For real though, I was thinking it could be the follow-up book after our next one.
Dan near killed him.
So, what do you think? Third book, God's booty hole.
Were you say? I think you might have been serious whenever you were talking about like a little booklet about God's.
I will do it if people want that. I mean, I can write. I would probably get like 50 to 75 pages on it.
No.
Okay, then we can add in topics.
No.
Did Adam and Eve? Well, see, the whole thing is going to be basically the same thing because you got to tie in like, did Adam and Eve have that? Did they have belly buttons? We cover all these. Did the angels? What is the anatomy of the angels at Sodom and Gomorrah?
This issue does not need this much delving into. Like, it really doesn't. Like, but I guess what you'd have to do is you'd have to separate it out and basically be like, okay, God, angels, Satan, Adam and Eve. I think that's about it.
You could do Jesus too.
Or you could even do like animals in
Did
the garden.
Jesus have a foreskin? Technically, we still have it, so yes.
We have it thrice.
No, we really do, I think.
Yeah, I know.
That's how we know he existed. You can't have the foreskin of someone who didn't exist.
So there's actually... Oh, no, my bad. I don't know why I have said 3. I apologize to all the Christians out there. I misrepresented your beliefs. I thought you were crazy because there were 3 churches that claimed to have Jesus's foreskin. I was wrong. I was very wrong, and for that I apologize. You guys aren't crazy enough to have 3 different churches claiming to have Jesus's foreskin. You have 31. 31 churches that have claimed to have Jesus's foreskin.
I mean, the chance of one of those being true is pretty good, right? I dare you to go to each one and prove that each one of them's not real.
No, I don't think I will. Not at all, actually.
So anyways, what you got on Jude?
That's a whole plate of holy calamari. What do I got on Jude?
Yeah, or the brothers of Jesus. No, here we go.
We're not talking. No, it's just church tradition, dude. There's no actual evidence of any of these things.
Then James.
What about James?
Yes.
James is also not brought up until the middle of the 2nd century, and what did you want to do about that?
We got somebody. So
I think Demon Blackfire or something. What you got?
Okay, so I don't have proof that they existed, but for the foreskin thing, there was a game. There was a game in Philly that went for like 18 innings. It was a doubleheader, and then they played another game for 9. That game ball was taken by the pitcher to a bar in Philly and traded for free drinks. So now every bar in Philly has a baseball and claims that they have this famous baseball. So for the foreskin thing, come on, man. But okay, so what you're doing here, I love it, by the way. I love watching you. You're trying to find evidence for Jesus and for Paul, evidence that...
And apparently for Jude and James.
Who the fuck are Jude and James? What is this?
Exactly, Matthew. Jesus.
Okay. So you, everyone every dumbass Christian in your comment section.
Hey,
sorry,
easy,
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Easy.
I apologize.
I'm sitting right here.
I apologize. They're all bashing you. They're all bashing you, but you're not necessarily saying that Jesus and Paul didn't exist. You're just saying until you find proof for it, they didn't exist, because you have to have proof. So if we had a contemporary from Jesus' time that talked about him and talked about Paul, boom, that's proof.
Oh, that'd be great, but no, the Jesus presented in the New Testament absolutely didn't exist. It's impossible to be born 10 years before you're born. I understand that maybe a type of Jesus, depending on how you carve him out, could have if you decide, or if you end up finding evidence for that guy, but the way the New Testament provides it is literally impossible. Even if we found evidence for Jesus, straight up somebody who's actually, I'm a historian and I am writing in 28, and there's this guy, he's incredible, guys. He's really getting a following and stuff like that. He's just a dude, but some of them are saying that he's about to be the Christ and stuff like that. A whole bunch of stuff. That's cool. That's whatever. That's fine. But that still doesn't mean that the New Testament's way of explaining him is legit. Not just the supernatural things. I'm saying, in Matthew, it says that he's born before 4 BCE, and in Luke, it says that he's born in 6 CE at earliest. So, impossible.
Right.
So, you just have to carve out a Jesus and say that's the one that it's talking about. In fact, if we had evidence for Jesus, we're still no closer to really proving the Jesus of the New Testament. Not really.
Right. But all these people that come on here and waste their time like trying to use the Bible as evidence, like that's not evidence. Like Odysseus existed then if the Bible was evidence. Like the Odyssey is proof that Odysseus like absolutely existed if the Bible was proof that Jesus existed. You know what I mean? So
yeah. And speaking of the Odyssey, Zendaya, am I right?
Yep. All right, I'm gonna take off. Thank you for what you're doing here, man. I love it, and it entertains me all the time.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming up. And that was Damon. Oh, Damon Blackfire, which is a pretty cool name there. Not gonna lie. Anyways, back to you, Matthew.
Right, yeah, I'm back.
Check to see who's in the chat. Look who's in the chat.
Well, hang on. I just missed a bunch of chat. Hang on.
What's it?
Well, hello there.
Hello there. Oh, she said I love you.
You too. Oh, am I following? Are we following? Yes. Nice.
That's weird.
Long time no EC.
What?
Virtual C. It's not like an actual. Oh.
Oh, sorry. Wrong button.
Oh, shit!
Nice. Oh, we got.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey.
This is wealth.manager.
Hey, so I had a question.
Yeah.
I do believe that Jesus and Paul existed, but
okay.
I was wondering. So, do you believe that John the Baptist existed as well?
Fuck.
Oh boy. So I'm gonna let you handle this how you want to handle this.
Did you say? I'm sorry, I think it cut out. Did you say no? John the Baptist did not
I bet
exist?
that's what Jaron said, isn't it? So, why do you ask?
Well, so the reason why I ask is because I know that I enjoy watching your live, and I know you've said that you liken the story of Jesus to like Harry Potter. You know, it's as a myth and like with made up characters. Well, if there are certain members or certain historical figures that you do believe that exist that are in the Bible that play a role in this story, it kind of makes it a little bit less like a fictional mythological novel if some characters are real.
Right.
Yeah. So I think with John the Baptist, the thing is, regardless of whether he's real or not, he kind of plays like a setting type character. Like, yeah, he's a little bit kind of like, I don't know, you could pick a random character, Joseph of Arimathea, who wasn't real, and he plays like a kind of plot or mechanistic role. But on the other, and he wasn't real, but then Pilate is real, and he kind of plays a similar like mechanistic role in the story. So whether he did or not is like a separate history question, because actually the Gospels are one of the most thorough accounts of John the Baptist existing. So yeah, it would make it more grounded, I guess you could say, if he existed. But if he didn't exist, then, you know, it's just another character like Joseph of Arimathea who is important to the story and kind of makes the story more real in a way, because, you know, he's like a high-level Jewish character that gets involved. But regardless, it's kind of like, I guess to use the Harry Potter example, the prime minister role in Harry Potter. There is a real prime minister in real life, but it doesn't name the prime minister in Harry Potter. The purpose of that line or that passage is to ground it, whether or not it's actually referencing the real one at that time, or just like they had a different one in mind that, you know, that I never name. Either way. So, Jared, I don't know if you want to answer it differently.
I do, but really quick, $1.99 super chat there on YouTube. Thank you very much. Nope. Bro, add that Bible verse on the bottom. Well, I'm going to be adding it. Gray Eyes just sent me a little ticker kind of thing, I think. All right, so that's going to be interesting. Also, $19.99. Thank you very, very much from Z-Core Alpha 2462 said, Roman soldiers who only dedicated to Caesar documented Jesus. They have zero reason to lie, make stuff up. That's all the proof I need. Have to complete. That's all the proof I need. Have to a complete nitwit to deny this fact, capitalized, space, period, good day, both capitalized. All right. So that guy's calling me a nitwit. What? No, we do not have any Roman soldiers who wrote about Jesus. That's bizarre. I'd like for you to maybe name a name.
Saint Longinus?
He still didn't write anything. Okay, anyways, as far as wealth manager goes, and his question, so I don't have a problem with John the Baptist existing, but I can at least say that the evidence that we have for him is very bleak.
Okay, well, also brought in Pontius Pilate, which you'd probably agree the evidence for Pilate is strong.
Yep.
So I guess it's not quite like a purely mythological story if maybe a few of the characters do have strong evidence for their existence.
Well, as Storm in the chat there on TikTok, Storm, by the way, has an amazing live. You definitely want to make sure to follow her. Oh, thank you very much for the glasses. So as Storm in the chat there on TikTok said, historical fiction is a whole ass genre. Like it's its own thing. Like historical fiction, it's still fiction, but it can involve historical people. Peter Parker meets Barack Obama in the Amazing Spider-Man comics. That doesn't mean that Spider-Man is a real person.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there. I just think that distinction should probably be made as far as it being pure fiction versus like.
I don't know if I've ever said that the New Testament is pure fiction. I don't think I've ever said that. In fact, when people come up and they say, "Hey, did no one in the Bible exist, or did no one in the New Testament exist?" I say, "No, there are people who existed, but that doesn't make it true."
Right. Yeah, I'm just thinking about the way that you frame it to folks that are listening. What I think it's different being spoken about as pure mythological fiction versus what you just said about historical fiction.
I would say
But
that,
go
ahead.
I was just going to say that your comment about the Roman authors, that was my next question for you. Was actually if you look at some of the writings from the Romans and from some of the Jewish writers as well, just talking about Christians as a whole, and how they're mentioned, do you feel like in your minds that gives you any more belief in the realness of Jesus, that Christianity was still a strong religion during that time, that people were not strong religion, but that people were willing to write about it and document it? Don't you feel like if he was just a fake mythological person, that Christianity as a whole, those Christians really care to be persecuted and killed back at that time?
Well, I think the first real good outside reference that we have to Christians is probably Lucian of Samosata, who's writing in the 160s. And the ones before that, so you're probably thinking of like Josephus and Tacitus and Suetonius, those aren't really good attestations to the Christians as you probably think they are. But regardless of when the date started, those are really thin references. So, I mean, you're not seeing this huge
which I
movement.
agree. I think those. Yeah, I agree with you. I think those are thin references, but I think that it also being such a. I mean, if you think about back in the time, it was not a widely. There wasn't a time where you could just publish, Bibles and go to the internet and shoot, the New Testament everywhere. It took time for people to write about it and spread the word, and of course it's going to be a fledgling religion for a long time. So the fact that it's mentioned at that time, the first several hundred years of the what I would say the existence and work of Jesus, I think gives it some credibility that folks like Josephus, or even in like the Jewish Talmud, there's references to Jesus, and so it would seem that the Jewish religion kept some sort of record of Jesus for a period of time. I know the Talmud was thousands of years, or
Yeah, the
far.
Talmud's it's a lot later. But it's kind of like we have a review of, like, I don't know, Harry Potter within the year of it coming out, and it wasn't really big yet. It didn't immediately take off. So, I mean, that doesn't make Harry Potter real, that the fact that it was referenced early, or, it's not a sign of it being big yet necessarily. It doesn't mean that the character's real. So, like, even if we had a reference of the Jesus story the year after it was first published, that doesn't make the story itself true. And then in terms of, like, it being true, people being willing to, like, suffer or whatever for it, then that kind of applies to literally any religion, including, like, the Book of Mormon. The Book of Mormon is a really good example here because people died for it, including the author. But that doesn't make it any more true. I mean, Nephi didn't exist, so but people died for the story that contained Nephi.
Yeah, I can see. I see what you're saying. That there's definitely things that have, but but what is true about the Book of Mormon is, John Smith is a real person. Like, he really created it.
John Smith married Pocahontas.
Yeah, thank you, Joseph Smith. Yeah, it's Joseph Smith.
Yeah, Joseph Smith. Sorry, I'm not Mormon. Yeah.
Yeah, the Book of Mormon has actually better historical attestation in terms of the book itself than the Bible, in that it starts with the affidavits of 11 different people saying that it's true. Whereas, like, with the Bible, you don't have that, and you don't have a lot of stuff for the Bible. So
there is better evidence for the Book of Mormon being true than there is for the New Testament. In fact, the things that the New Testament, the things that the New Testament, the things that the New Testament, like, stands, like yourself, think are actually coming from historians, or coming from eyewitnesses and stuff like that, of these things, of these people who are writing these books and trying to say, hey, Jesus did exist, I saw it. That level of evidence is not found for the New Testament, even though you think it is, and is actually found for the Book of Mormon, which you think is bullshit.
Well, I haven't looked into the Book of Mormon at all. I think that the timing of the Book of Mormon would lend itself to having more evidence, due to the fact that it's so much more recent in history.
It doesn't make any sense.
I think. Well, so I'll make it make sense. So you guys would agree, I'm sure, that early Christians were persecuted by Romans and Jews. You wouldn't?
Nope.
Not for
you
a
think
long
there's
time.
no evidence for that?
Nope, not for a really long time.
Not for like 100, 200 years.
Yeah, a good 200 years, maybe 3.
Okay. So you would say that after 200 years, maybe 3, they were persecuted.
Yeah, for like a really small amount of time. Yep. And then all of a sudden, they become legal, and now they can proselytize everywhere. And then shortly after that, about 70 years later, a little less than 70 years, about 68 years later, they become the official religion of Rome.
Okay. Well, I don't know how familiar you are with all or different religions, but if you are to be preaching false doctrine in the Jewish religion, what is your punishment?
It doesn't matter because that has nothing to do with this. There's no
Well, I
evidence
think
that Christianity came from there.
Well, Christianity itself would be a false doctrine to Jewish people, wouldn't they?
Sweet.
Wouldn't it?
None of the people who are writing
they
this
wouldn't
are
have-
Jewish, so I don't know what to tell you.
And on top of that, we posit that the books were written in the 140s and later, and so there wouldn't be a Jewish polity at the time, and they didn't have the authority to enact some kind of capital punishment on somebody.
Definitely true.
It would have to be like vigilante type stuff because Jerusalem and all of Judea really ceased to exist as
there was no Jerusalem. It's called
the
Aliena
130s.
Capitolina.
Right.
So, do you guys believe that anybody was crucified, or just not that Jesus was crucified?
We literally have archaeological evidence that people got crucified at times.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Okay, so the same way that people were crucified, you don't think that preaching false doctrine was something that you could be crucified for back then?
Well, the
Again,
Romans
it doesn't
did
matter.
that.
But why does that not matter?
Because the New Testament doesn't show up until the middle of the 2nd century. You're going to have to show us that somebody was doing that in the 1st century, or at least saying these things and making these claims that Jesus did this in the 1st century. We don't have any evidence of that. So I don't
Right. So that's
don't
why
really
I asked
care
you.
how many times
that those
people
other
were
two
crucified, but the
people-
Romans crucified people. The Jews didn't crucify people. On top of that, even if they did in the 1st century, again, it doesn't matter because by the time the New Testament comes out, the Jews don't have there's no Judea, let alone Jerusalem, and their ability to like govern themselves and say, hey,
So
this is enough of a problem to bring up to the Romans.
Who went to war with Rome?
A lot of people, but are you talking about like during the Bar
Did
Kokhba
the Jews
revolt?
not go to war against Rome?
Yeah, and the
Multiple
third
times.
time that
And
they
lose?
got their ass handed to them was in the 130s, and that's when they renamed Jerusalem and Judea, and then banished the Jews from Judea.
Okay, so you're saying they don't have any power, they don't have any ability to do capital punishment, but then they're going to war with Rome?
This is all after
This
that.
is
Is
after
what we're saying.
that.
So there were
I-
three Jewish revolts. There's the one in 70, which is the first war, and then there's the Kitos War, which is in like the 110s, like 115, 117. Then there's the Bar Kokhba revolt, which is the final one, and Rome crushed that state so hard that it ceased to exist. They renamed it. They, crushed the population. Hebrew basically stopped being spoken as like a daily language. And then we're saying after that is
the
when
first
these
gospel.
texts were written.
Mhm.
And so
Sure.
during that time,
Okay.
the
Yeah,
Jewish
so-
population was not able to.
Yeah.
I totally.
So this persecution
I
that
see
you're
that
thinking
timeline
of, or
totally.
potential persecution, wouldn't be a thing. It wouldn't be something that they were needing to worry about from Jewish people.
Well, so what Matt just said was as early as 70 was the first war, and that's the one I was thinking about.
Uh-huh.
And so you would say that within that 70 years, I mean, that's pretty close, I would say, to the recent history of the story of what you guys are alleging is not true with Jesus and Paul. So my point is, when I say we're Jews or we're Romans persecuting Christians, I think that a religion that's willing to take up arms against Rome in 70 was definitely willing to also persecute Christians or people that are
Motherfucker,
preaching
dude.
false
I don't think.
doctrine.
How are you not getting this? I don't know how to get it across any other way.
Bro, I don't know how you
Jesus
think
fucking
that
Christ,
people were
dude.
so nice.
No,
How do you
no,
think they're so
dude.
nice? They're going to war
Holy
with Rome,
shit.
and you think they're
You
nice
don't know
to
what we're
people that are
talking
preaching
about.
false doctrines?
No, dude. Wealth manager. How the fuck do you manage people's wealth if you're this stupid? Listen, we have told you time and time again that we are talking about this story doesn't show up until after there is no Judea in Jerusalem. What the
All
hell are you
stories-
talking about?
all stories of persecution all show up after Judea no longer exists.
Yeah, there's
and
yes,
and at that point there is no Jewish population in a political state with power to enact capital punishment.
I am
like you could
aware.
say that like there were vigilante mobs in various cities
Yeah.
or something outside of Judea, or I guess at that point Palestine, but that doesn't really help because they don't have the authority to do that stuff. They are no longer allowed to practice and enforce their laws.
I am well aware that someone in 70, a group in 70 that is willing to go against Rome would be willing to persecute or be willing to go against like some ideas and stuff like that that they felt like were heretical. I get that. That's not when this happens though. Our point is that it happens 70 something years after the first Jewish-Roman War. It happens about 30 years after the Second Jewish-Roman War, and it happens about a decade after the Third Jewish-Roman War when they no longer have Judea. That is the first time that we get stories about Jesus. There's no heretical claims of Jesus during the time that the Jews are going to war with the Romans. It's after that. I don't know how to get it across to you any other way, dude.
I completely understand.
I don't think you do.
What you wouldn't admit is that there could have been people persecuting Christians before that. You wouldn't admit that, and you said that that didn't even happen.
Who? And why would they be persecuting them?
I said Romans and Jews could have been persecuting Christians for preaching false doctrine. Or I said Jews specifically for preaching false doctrine.
When?
Before 70.
There's no who? What are they preaching? What are they preaching before 70?
Did they not exist before 70?
Who?
Before they went to war
The Christians?
The Jews. Did they not exist
The Jews
before?
existed before 70, but there's no one going around saying that
but
Jesus
were
existed
their
before
laws
70.
changed?
But no, we're saying that there were no Christians.
There were no Christians.
In the sense that you're thinking before 70. And so there's nobody to persecute before the Third Jewish-Roman War. And then after the Jewish-Roman War is when Christianity shows up. And then they wouldn't have the power to persecute them.
Yeah, no. What my point is that in their religion about speaking or preaching false doctrines.
What false doctrine? What false doctrine would be spoken about? Are you alluding to the idea of the false doctrine of Jesus of the Christians?
I'm saying that if Jesus existed and he was preaching false doctrine,
so we don't have any. We're
no
trying to
evidence
figure
for
out
people
whether or
being
not he
persecuted.
did. That's the point. And there's no evidence that they were persecuted because there's no evidence that they even had a story back then. That's what we're saying. We're trying to figure out whether or not he existed. We're not starting with the presupposition that he existed and that they were walking around saying this shit prior to 70. Give us evidence that they were, and we'll talk about it.
Are we talking about 70 BC, or are we talking about 70 80?
I want you.
This is the one we're talking about. Whichever.
I want you to guess which one we're talking about. Before we move on to somebody with wrinkles on their brain, what do you think we're talking about when we say 70?
I thought we were talking about 70 AD.
Yeah, that is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're saying. Okay, you go ahead.
So that would have been after Christ went through his work.
But we're saying
if he existed, but we don't have any evidence he did.
Okay, that's my point.
Yeah, I know. You're starting with your presupposition and assuming all of this stuff is happening, and there's no evidence of it. And you're just assuming it happened, and then you're being like, well, don't you think that the people...
Okay.
Sure, but give us the evidence that this is going on.
Here's my point, and this is where I think that with you, Jaron, and with you, Matt, I just think that you cannot underestimate the amount of opposition there would have been to early Christianity.
Cool.
And
then give us proof that there's early Christianity before 70, and we'll talk about it.
I just think that you guys totally act like the same people.
Nope. I'm not even.
That was interesting.
That guy's head is so far up his own ass that he can see his lungs. I have no idea why that guy even thought that was remotely close to an argument he could be making.
His real name is Alexa Minos.
What?
I said his real name is Alexa Minos.
I think probably. I have no idea.
Because
he got his
head is
on
an
his head.
ass.
My God, that was like playing Jenga with wet bars of soap. All right. Yeah. All right. So, really fast. Z Corp tried to explain himself over here. $19.99 there, said the guarding soldiers at the cross, a company of Roman soldiers, mocked Jesus, stripped him, dressed him in a scarlet robe, and placed a crown of thorns on his head. And then just gives the Bible verses. Matthew 27 through 8, 27 verse 27 through 31, and then John 19, 1 through 3. Okay. That is not a testimony from the soldiers. That is just something happening in a story. And I mean, okay, there were a bunch of people that saw Harry Potter win a Quidditch match. Cool. I guess Harry Potter actually existed because we now have the testimony from all these people, because it says so in the book that is all these people saw Harry Potter. That's I don't think you understand that that's not what we were talking about. You were trying to say that the Roman soldiers documented Jesus. We asked for evidence of this, and you just pointed to a book that doesn't come from the Roman soldiers. And then $20 Canadian from King Caligula, I think?
Caligula?
No, not quite. I don't know what it is. It says, I think you're mixing reality with psychological reality.
Is that us or to somebody else?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I feel like that could be
it could be. And then another $19.99 there from Z Corp Alpha says, find out eventually, Skippy. Good luck. And then sent a little 4-leaf clover for luck, the Bible for, I guess, what we need, and then a fire.
I don't think people understand. I mean, I read the Bible like every day.
Yeah, I know the Bible better than most people I talk to.
It's like, it doesn't help.
I don't get it. And then $7 there from Elope Nope says, I'm back. Did I miss anything? Miss anything? Good crash out. They could have. I fucking love the Christians. Yeah. It's absolutely ridiculous. That guy, he started with the presupposition, and this is what's tough. It's like pulling teeth, because he started with the presupposition that Jesus actually existed, and that the Christians were spreading these stories within the Jewish communities, and that the Jews were persecuting them because he believed that story, and he just assumes that it's correct. But there's this added layer of, whenever we try to tell him these stories don't show up until the 2nd century, he can't wrap his head around the idea that what he's been saying doesn't have any evidence, and it could be wrong. And so he just kind of keeps saying the same stuff. And he keeps asking us, oh, hey, can't you imagine that they could have persecuted the Jews, or persecuted the Christians in the 70s? And it's like, well, yeah, I can imagine that, but give me evidence that that happened, or that there was even a story at that point in time, and we'll talk about it. But he couldn't. He had no idea what was going on. No idea. All right. And then his most recent comment here, y'all think the people that unalive Jesus wouldn't want to destroy all evidence of his existence. Cute.
It's a conspiracy.
Yeah, that's just some weird conspiracy thing. That's dumb as shit. It's also, at least a little bit, steeped in anti-Semitism. So, you know what I mean? Like, maybe, and this is true here. Fuck off. Try that. Try that on for size. Would you agree with him, Matthew, that that guy needs to fuck off?
No, I'm going to keep him engaged.
Oh, you want to keep him engaged? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, fuck back on for a little bit and watch as we talk to somebody else. Mo0992, what you got?
So why does it matter if Jesus existed or not?
It's a fun historical question.
Yeah.
So are you all atheists?
Who told you that?
I'm asking. I don't know.
I'm a Seventh-day Priapist.
Yeah, and I'm an Adonatologist. So.
What does that mean?
It means I follow Adonatology.
I never heard of it.
Oh.
Are y'all being sarcastic? I'm not familiar with these terms.
I'm a big fan of
Adonatology. I'm not really sure at this point
if it's sarcasm or not.
I mean, I'm so steeped in it that, like...
Yeah.
What did Matthew say he follows?
Priapism.
Say it again. Pragmatism.
Priapism. Priapism.
All right, cool. So I guess it might be sarcasm or something.
Well, as I was spelling it out, I realized what was going to come up if people search that. So I may have to come up with a better name. No, there was a Greek god named Priapus.
Ah, okay. So, okay, I understand. So, like idolatry.
Yeah, you definitely look. We have the coolest idols. They actually
Kind of
have
like
practical
Christianity.
use.
Kind of like Christianity.
Well, our idols actually have more practical use.
Idols. I mean, I don't think any idols have practical use.
Well, if you saw a Priapus idol, you'd see.
Why? Somebody built it. How can I see something useful in that?
I mean, Priapus is the god of fertility.
It's the god of somebody made it up.
And is very well endowed, and all idols of Priapus generally have.
So if you hang low, you have your.
Well, see, in all idols.
Yeah, if you have to ask questions, that means that yours isn't big enough. Like if you don't understand it, that means that you're not invited to the to the turtle club.
I got it.
Anyways, so what you got for us today?
I mean, I was just wondering what y'all followed. Honestly, I've never joined one of these things. I'm not a Christian. You know what I mean? I don't think it matters if you believe that Paul existed. You know, he can go fuck himself. Jesus, though, I would say that there's historical things from so many different sources that would be hard to say that he didn't exist. You know? So, like, I'm not saying that the Bible is like, you know, the word of God or anything like that. But I would say that the Bible is more like a historical
TikTok had us remove him because of harassment and bullying. It's because of what he said about Paul.
Oh.
It wasn't even that bad. Like, I was just listening to him talk.
I was like, what?
All right, keep going.
I don't know if there was a
no, we
point
can't bring
address.
you up because TikTok won't let us have you up for another like 10 minutes. You can maybe wait 10 minutes and you can come back up. Yeah, it's really kind of weird. $2 there on Super Chat from a Lopnope says, I get better dopamine here than DZ debate. What is that? Oh, no, deconstruction sound. Oh, at first I thought it was Dragon Ball Z. And I was like, why would you watch a Dragon Ball Z debate? But man, you can't make me say that, man. I like Justin. He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Somebody in the chat said it matters because people use religion to marginalize and other things, and we weren't trying to, diminish the reasons it might matter that Jesus existed. I thought that person was coming in with like well, why do you care if you don't believe in him type thing, and so I was trying to diffuse that.
Yeah.
It's more of like a rhetorical tactic than like an actual statement. It is an interesting historical thing, but there are other reasons too that it might matter that Jesus existed or not.
Yeah. Oh, it absolutely does matter if Jesus existed, because I feel like society has benefited when we believe as many true things as possible and stop believing as many false things as possible. And if you can't look yourself in the mirror and ask the question, why do I think that Jesus even existed? Well, then you're part of the problem.
I may have proof that Priapus existed. You want to hear it? And I'm going to have to be very careful with the
If I hear the sound of your pants unzipping.
No, I was going to say that erections themselves are proof of Priapus, who is the god of that. Checkmate, atheist.
Look,
wealth manager
Stephen Hawking, like, he didn't believe in Priapus, and look at him now. He's dead.
Well, no, I just want to say. Right. Okay. I was about to say. Well, Priapus, you know.
Charles
helps the
Darwin,
most.
he didn't believe in Priapus. Look at him now. He's dead. Gorbachev, he didn't believe. All right. Anyways. Oh, it is true. That is true. Lindsay in the chat.
That's a deep cut.
That is a deep cut, but it's true. It's canon. It is canon.
Is it? It's canon or it's a canon? I don't remember.
Hell yeah, it's a canon. It is canon. All right. Let's see. If you have any evidence for Jesus or Paul, we want to hear from you. You now have the opportunity to not just talk to me, the guy that wears a cowboy hat all the time, but also my co-author right here, the guy that I talk about all the time. Say what?
Who doesn't wear a cowboy hat all the time?
It barely even wears hair. But that being said,
keep it short.
Keep it short. That's not what Priapus said.
Well, I was trying to tie that in somehow, but I couldn't.
I tied it in for you.
You beat me to the punch there. Thank you.
That's what
I like it when you tie it in.
If you know what I mean. All right. Let's see. Just the tip, tie it off. Oh my god. All right. Do. Holy cow! Is that Brit? A little bit. Yep.
You say little Brit? Is that what you said?
No, I said. I didn't, but that's funny. So.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
You know, actually, this is why. Look, another evidence piece for Priapus. That is why Yahweh is so big into circumcision. Because
he's
Priapism, Priapism allows for other gods to potentially exist, and if they did, Yahweh is scared, so he has to weaken the weapon of Priapus. I don't know what else to call it.
Because, as he said in the Tower of Babel story, if we don't go down there and snippy snip, then there will be nothing stopping them, and they can do whatever they put their minds to. He's attempting to soften the believers.
And that's also, I don't know, I'm gonna have to write like the book of Priapism next too, after we get our God's Booty Hole book, or whatever it's called.
You guys are never gonna see Ancient Voices Unveiled because we keep coming up with these little dumb ideas.
Little side projects.
Yeah. Yeah, we've already got one book out. We might as well hit all the little side missions or whatever.
Hey, we've made really good progress. I've edited like 130 pages over the last week.
That's true.
And
guess how many pages I've edited?
230.
No, about 10.
Okay. Well, then I finished that human sacrifice part. I wrote a part on the Samaritan potential involvement in the Old Testament creation, or at least the books of Moses. And then, which you haven't read because that was finished yesterday. And then after that, I'll go check your part out, and then I'll hop back and touch up the Quran
You're gonna
section.
just rip my part to shreds. $1.99 from Jake the Skeptic says, "Did you see my maps on Theotis inscription?" Yeah. So the Theotis inscription is found outside of the area that really should be. Not only that, but paleographically, it dates potentially to the 2nd century because there's some writing from the time of Emperor Hadrian that it actually lines up with. There are some arguments that like it dates as early as like Herod's time using paleography, but no, like the fact that paleography is that big of a range is pretty dog shit. So just saying, oh hey, this is something from the first half of the range, like when there's no other evidence like it to suggest that it would be, is pretty pathetic. Let's see. Wealth. What are you meaning wealth manager for? What did he say?
He said he's going to send it to us or something like that.
Send
individually.
what to
I don't
us?
know. Well, I don't know. I was hoping pictures, but whatever.
I don't know. Swizzle Stick, if you're in the chat and you want to come up, you definitely can. I just muted you for the entire live. So if you want to come up, you can. The request button is right there above Matthew's head or down there. If you're on YouTube, you can send a super chat and I'll read it and respond to it. Or you can click the link in the chat to come on up on TikTok. That's how we take guests. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right. 1 second here. My wife is talking to me. And when your wife talks, you listen. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, I better listen too. He muted it. Oh my gosh. Can't believe it. It's awkward just talking. Why do you leave me here? And he's still making expressions and stuff. Anybody a lip reader? It's probably about the Priapus statue he found. Or she found. Somebody found it.
All right, everybody. Yeah, sorry about that. She was just telling me about how I don't listen to her. So I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. Okay. Let's see. Anyways, back to back to Matthew. What were you saying?
Oh, I was just saying she probably found your Priapus statue.
Oh yeah. Oh, by the way, I got this gift from you. Thank you very, very much. This gift from Matthew was Tacitus's annals. There. Yep.
I told you I was giving you annals for your birthday.
Yes. Yes. Matthew gave me annals for my birthday, and
Did you
it's
enjoy
quite
it?
large.
It is thick.
Yeah. Well, it does have this little little string here. It helps. It helps.
It's so you can pull it out.
Well, yeah, obviously. But also I can actually close it and remember where I was. I don't have to leave it like.
You know, honestly, there's like 1 or 2 places you will ever need in that book, but then again, you just leave it on that page. You know, like.
Is that the stop lever? He's expressing. How sweet. The illustrated pop-up edition with the fire in Rome. You open it up, it's like
that would be cool.
That would be awesome. Oh, god damn it! Now we need CBJ pop-up book. Well, it actually is a pop-up book. On every page, it pops up the good evidence for Jesus.
Somebody's got a question about Justin Martyr.
I don't know if you just caught my joke.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't listening. Oh, there's a.
What do you think we are, married? No.
Not with an attitude like that.
Not anymore. No. I said that on every page, there's a pop-up of good evidence for Jesus. So it is a pop-up book. God damn it!
Priapus.
Okay, he's already off on cloud 9, guys. I repeated the joke and he still didn't get it.
Say it again one more time.
I'm not saying it again. I'm not saying it again.
I'll listen this time.
Dumb bitch. Anyways, so let's see. We do have $1.99 there from Dre Lane Johnson. Said Psalms 82:1 breaks the thought of monotheism. What are they referring to? Do you have any idea what that is?
I'm pulling it up.
Well, I'm going to pull it up on the screen.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, you do that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know what this one is. I've heard it. Yeah. God has taken his place in the divine council. In the midst of the gods, he holds judgment.
You know, that's something I need to go back, and that is another place I have to re-edit the Old Testament section again. It's kind of like tie in more like Yahwist type stuff, because I think there was a very prominent Yahwist movement that was probably like polytheistic or at least henotheistic, which is basically the same thing. But I don't really emphasize that too much. It's more on the textual argument, but it may tie in a little bit.
Let's see here. Yeah.
What are you looking at?
I'm taking a look at the Hebrew there.
Ah.
Yeah, in the midst of the gods is what it says there.
Well, I mean, it's like the Ten Commandments. Like, why are you saying don't worship other gods? I mean, like, you could interpret that as like, just don't be the wrong religion, which is how it's normally taken. But also, if those gods don't exist, then why does that matter, and why does that need to be a commandment the way it's framed?
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
are we talking
really
Old Testament stuff today? I mean, it's coming up, but that's going to be something I think I may struggle with. Is that like I'm reading it from a very specific, I don't want to say angle, but for a very specific purpose. Like, a lot of it is not criticism of like the morals or like the historical accuracy.
Stuff, we don't
it's
care.
more about like it's more about like the origins of the text. And so I'm going to probably know some obscure Old Testament references and then not get a bunch of others because like if somebody's going to pull out like a verse like that, like it's a good point, but also like not something I looked at because I already kind of assumed they were like some form of polytheistic really far back.
Yeah, we got somebody's coming up here.
Okay, and then we got something in the chat. Somebody asked to ask.
Roman, what you got?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
It's going.
Hey.
I just had a couple questions. And forgive me if I'm butchering any of the names going forward. At the end of the day, I'm trying to like figure out truth. Like I do come from a Christian background, but I care about the truth more, right? So like whatever that truth is.
Right.
So there's Papias of Hierapolis.
Papias, yeah.
Papias. And apparently he wrote that he sought information from people who had known the apostles and specifically mentioned learning traditions connected to John, Andrew, Peter. Would that be like proof that
somebody who dies in like the 160s is somehow talking to the disciples?
Because I remember you had asked in like a while back, who is an author or person within Christianity who said that they knew of a disciple, right?
We don't have anybody who says it. Papias doesn't say that. We don't have anything from Papias. We just have things from like Eusebius or Irenaeus who just tell us about Papias.
So he didn't actually write anything down?
He may have, but we don't have anything.
We don't have any surviving writings from Papias that are not quotations or paraphrases supposedly from him in other people's writings. So other people's writings were the only thing that we have evidence for Papias for. And he tends to look like he lived quite a bit after what the scholarly range tends to say. And we also have Polycarp, who says he knew John, but the dates for Polycarp are...
No, Irenaeus says
Polycarp was a student. Well, okay. Yeah, that's more or less what I meant. But the point being is that Polycarp's dating is so late that for him to have known John, John would have to have lived quite a bit later than possible for him to have actually seen Jesus. He would have been like in his 120s or 30s at that time, like a really crazy age.
Okay. I was actually going to bring up Polycarp next, because like according to early Christian testimony, he was a disciple of John the Apostle, right?
That's the tradition.
Yeah, but Polycarp never says that. That's Irenaeus that says it.
Okay. And where did they get that from?
I mean,
his ass.
Irenaeus makes a lot of stuff up.
Yeah, he said that Jesus lived to be 50.
He could be saying something he thinks true about Polycarp, but he also says a lot of really weird stuff.
Okay.
Roman Senator Priapus Papias.
So none of that is strong evidence.
No.
Okay. But would you guys say that historians hold that to be true? Like that whole section of like Papias and Polycarp and Irenaeus and what they've said, and what the tradition holds to, like, would they all
In
agree
regards to
with
what?
that or no?
In regards to what? Like, what like, do the scholars believe their claims to what?
Because that's all proving essentially that they did exist. No.
Who?
Well, it's basically, I think his claim is
the apostles, which would
claim
then
that none of these people say that they met him. I mean,
they
Irenaeus
say they
is born
met
in
somebody
130.
that met them.
Yeah, they're saying like, oh, somebody else. Excuse me, somebody else may have known them or something.
okay. So
Yeah, like
okay.
when
And
I
also,
when I
think
ask,
I think the Papias claim comes from Irenaeus too, if I'm not mistaken. Like he's the one that says they both knew John. So it's like it's not even coming from Papias or Polycarp themselves. It's coming from Irenaeus.
I don't even think he says that Papias knows John.
He's a hearer of John.
No, that's Polycarp.
Because it from the research that I did, it showed that Papias of Hierapolis wrote that he sought information from people who had known the apostles, and specifically mentioned learning traditions connected to John the Apostle.
Yeah, Papias. Irenaeus does say. I said corrected. Irenaeus does say that Papias heard John along with Polycarp. So they were both, I guess, hearers of John at some point, according to Irenaeus.
But I have to look. I don't know if any.
So it says that scholars debate whether John the Elder was. So the 4th century historian Eusebius argued that Papias actually distinguished between John the Apostle and a separate figure called John the Elder. Eusebius believed Papias learned from the second elder, John, rather than the apostle. That's Eusebius. So he actually goes against what Irenaeus said. And scholars debate whether John the Elder was a distinct person or just a title Papias used for the apostle John himself. Some researchers note that the disciples Papias list perfectly match the sequence in the Gospel of John, suggesting they were closely connected. But, I mean, we don't have anything directly from Papias or anything like that. We just have
on top of that, I don't think the stuff we have from Papias claims he was a student of John. I think that claim is directly from Irenaeus. So we don't have anybody actually claiming they knew John or knew somebody who knew Jesus. It's Irenaeus is creating a lineage so he can, and honestly a self-serving lineage because he claims to be a student of Polycarp, a lineage that would go back to Jesus.
Yep. So
Because
Irenaeus is
otherwise
not
we don't have
quoting
anybody who met him.
Papias saying, I saw John. He's quoting Papias a little bit, or so we believe, and then also saying he knew John, and just saying it.
So what would have to change in that formula for it to be authentic?
I mean, even if it's authentic, that wouldn't prove. I mean, like if let's say his statement is true and that Papias and Polycarp knew a John, like Jaron was saying, that doesn't necessarily mean that's the John that knew Jesus. And on top of that, we don't have John himself in any text that says, I am John and I knew Jesus. Like, there is no text in the Bible that, like the gospel, for example, it's attributed to a John, but he never says in that, I am John and I wrote this gospel and I knew Jesus, or I was this disciple. And then in the letters.
But people didn't really write like that back in those days, did they? Like, people wouldn't really say, like, I'm John, and like.
Well, I mean, like we have letters.
More like.
Why wouldn't they say I am John?
So that's not
Paul
true because
supposedly says I am Paul like every fucking time he can.
Right, and that's how letters are structured, and we ostensibly have letters that are attributed to John, 1 John through 3 John, and he never signs it as John. It's always like the elder. So it's really common for letters and even longer stories like plays to list the author. And like I think Lucian's a good example. I think he lists himself sometimes, and then also his recipient. So that was a common thing that it would be attributed to the person who.
Well, for a letter, like that does make sense because you would sign a letter, so that does make sense for like Paul, right?
And John, because we have 3 letters attributed to John.
And John, sure, yeah.
And John's the person in question, so yeah.
Right.
Are we overlooking the fact that Acts says that John can't fucking read?
Or write.
Or write. I mean, are we even considering the fact that he very clearly has said illiterate? The disciple?
So right there. Yeah, that one's the disciple because he's with Peter.
As they looked on Peter and John so fearlessly outspoken and also discovered that they were illiterate persons, untrained in the schools, they were surprised. Because they didn't read it from somewhere. The story is basically saying that they're talking about Jesus, and some people are like, wow, these guys are like fucking morons who can't read or write, so very clearly they must have actually seen something.
Okay, so then he would have had to have learned to read and write
in another language,
in a foreign language that he doesn't speak.
Yeah, for a topic that he doesn't usually talk about. Like, for instance, you speak English, obviously. Do you also speak Spanish?
No.
Okay, do you know at least some Spanish? Like, could you like say hi or like introduce yourself in Spanish?
I can speak French, and I could speak a bit of a bit of Spanish. Some Italian.
But like in a language that you don't know that much of, do you think that you could easily write a story or a book about a religion? Like, could you
write one of the most theologically complex gospels
in a language that you don't speak, even if you knew it like enough to get by at work or something?
Yeah, no, probably not.
Yeah, that's the point. Is that he may have known at least a little bit of Greek in order to like speak it or something like that, but like to some extent, or to get by at work as a fisherman, but or maybe even to write a receipt. But to write a really complex theological like treatise.
But couldn't he have just like not written it himself and like a scribe just wrote down what he said or something?
The idea is that he's in exile when he writes it.
Well,
so
and also,
did they just provide scribes and
the
paper?
level of complexity wouldn't allow for a scribe to like just completely rewrite the arguments, because he would have to construct the arguments in Greek. Otherwise, it's the scribes writing in arguments at that point. Like it would be, and like you'd have to use like ChatGPT level rewrites, and it wasn't something that's as easy back then as it is now, because this has to be on like either papyrus or like, you know, pieces of paper or wax tablets or whatever. And that's going to take resources and a lot of time to construct something as big as John's Gospel, and
all
then the 3
exile,
letters.
By the way.
Right. When we know he wasn't even literate in his own language.
we're gonna banish this guy over to this island. And in doing so, we're also going to provide him with as much paper and ink as he wants and a scribe to write down what he wants to all of his people. Like, we just arrested this guy for being a Christian. So we want to make sure that he has every opportunity he can to write down his visions and his story and everything like that so that he can spread it out. And then we're somehow going to let it out of the exile. Like, we're going to be completely cool with it sneaking out.
And all that information is from it's from Paul. It's from his like the getting exiled and all that.
John was exiled.
Not John. And so the way they get that is from Revelation.
From Revelation,
which is attributed to John, but is generally considered to be a different author.
Yeah.
After Acts, we don't have really anything about John. That's not from like way later authors, or like at least non-biblical authors. So,
I mean,
yeah, because then like through some of the other research that I saw, it says that Polycarp, as a young man, had remembered speaking about like conversations with John. Polycarp was, as a young man, speaking with John, and
yeah, but of course this is not Polycarp.
It's coming from Irenaeus, who he's explicitly invested in making sure that his lineage goes back to Jesus himself. Like he's got this big book, like basically arguing about how, first off, there's a bunch of groups that are heretical, and then also how important it is to be able to trace your lineage, more or less, back to the apostles, the disciples, and Jesus, and how this is his claim to it is because he says he learned from Polycarp, who learned from John, who learned from Jesus, and so that's his justification to his authority. But that doesn't mean that it actually was real. I mean, he could have known it, but then we don't even have a John saying that he knew Jesus, and the text that we have from John, which clearly aren't by John, don't even say that he knew Jesus.
Okay, so he had like skin in the game in the sense that like he would have, like, he had an interest in having this be true because then it connects him to Jesus is your point, right? Like
Right.
through his lineage.
Yeah, like the whole thing is like really showing up his, claim to authority in there, and his views more broadly. It's not just probably about him. It's probably about the views he's pushing, which he, I assume, believes and would want to.
Would he have thought himself that Jesus was fictional? Like,
no, I imagine Irenaeus is one of the first Christian writers that's actually born a Christian, which is really interesting because he's writing so late. He's writing in the 180s. Most Christians that are writing, even in his time, are actually converts, which is really odd if you consider like Jesus supposedly living in like the 30s and having followers. That just doesn't really work. There's places in Acts and in the pastorals where we have people who they say their mother was Christian, implying that they became Christian through birth, more or less, which just doesn't work out because, like, basically every Christian writer up until Irenaeus was a convert. Then even afterwards, a lot of them were converts because they weren't a lot of them, and there weren't a lot of literate ones of them, and they tended to come from, conversion.
Some bad news. I do have to go.
Well, goodbye to you.
Yeah, well,
all good.
I'm sorry. But if you are waiting to come up in the chat, make sure to send us a follow. I will be live tomorrow. I will be live tomorrow from about. I should be live tomorrow. I think I'll be live tomorrow, and I think I'm also going to go live this evening as well. So
it was great speaking to you guys. Take care.
Yeah,
if you want to come back up and continue the conversation, you definitely can. I'm going to be live probably later on this evening sometime. Just give me a follow and you'll get a notification.
Alrighty, will do.
Now, really fast, Matthew, before we go, there's 2 super chats over there on YouTube. $2 from a Nope says, is there any evidence that John used DMT? And I would say no. But thank you very much, Joe Rogan. And then also $4.99 from Tracy, formerly Ionto, says, where can you get the CBJ anals? Where can you get it?
I believe it's on Amazon.
Oh, yes. CBJ is available. $3 for the ebook. Check it out on Amazon. The link's in the bio or on the YouTube profile. So if you want to know a little bit more about what me and my co-author, who is right here on TikTok, or you hear his voice there on YouTube, you want to know a little bit more on how we get to this in the dating of the New Testament and everything, check it out. Again, it is on Amazon. The ebook is just $3. The link is in the profile. But anyways, I will see you guys later. I do see Cameron Wayne Larrick there in the guest request. Send us a follow. Send me a follow here on TikTok, and I'll be live either later today or tomorrow there in order to continue the conversation. I definitely want to hear what you have to say. But yeah, thank you very much. Thank you to anybody and everybody who stuck around longer than 30 seconds. 35-second gang, rise up. And thank you to Matthew for swinging by and gracing us with your presence.
Amen. Well, may Priapus bless you and keep you.
That's funny. All right. Adiablos.
Adiablos.
Peace.
Bye.
And again, to everyone watching, peace out, Girl Scout. Put me down for some Thin Mints. See you guys later. On to YouTube. Thank you very much for hanging out. You've been you, and you've been too.